Is this the dagger? Oh, unbelievable! How about that?
It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Beautiful off and rolling on a Tuesday. It's December 13th, 2022. Welcome in to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Very somber day with the passing of Mike Leach at 61 years of age. We'll get to that in a second. Now, I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. Producing the program is Brian Dacus on Twitter at Brian_Dacus. Brian, how are you?
I'm good, Gabe, except I got this drink. It's a peppermint mocha espresso thing from Walmart. Love peppermint. It's one of my favorite things. I always get the peppermint milkshake stuff. Not a fan of it. So if you're looking for something pepperminty, don't get the thing in Walmart.
I get you. I'm sure it's a Christmas special. And my partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. Certainly some crossover with Mike Leach, and he's Brett Stats Norsworthy on Twitter at Brett Norsworthy. Brett, I know it's a tough day for everyone in this area, in the state of Mississippi as a whole, and lost a good one today. There's no question about it.
Okay, we sure did, and we feared the worst as soon as the reports came out from the medical distress on Sunday and helicoptered to Jackson, and we feared this most of Sunday night and into yesterday and woke up to it this morning. And one of my favorite church hymns, and you often only hear it during sadness, often at a funeral. It is the name of the song is "It Is Well." The good Lord always knows what He's doing. It is well, and it was well at the Egg Bowl. Perfect for it to end that way.
Mm-hmm. And just massive heart attack on Sunday. We feared the worst, and the worst came true. 61 years of age, Mike Leach passes, and just in remembrance of him, I just think about it, and we touched on this yesterday. But obviously the larger-than-life personality he possessed, the pirate, and who he was. And usually in these moments, I feel like when it's a sports figure of the size of Mike Leach, we try to talk about what he was off the field, good family man, the whole 9 yards is what was the case for him. But I feel like for him, he wanted to be remembered as a ball coach, right? He wants us to remember what he meant to the game in regards to what he was able to do as a trailblazer. And, I again touched on this yesterday, but the meaning he had to this game, his coaching tree, how much he and Hal Mummy brought in regards to passing concepts we see in the game today, man. He ended up, and people talk about wanting to give the game more than the gave to them. I feel as if Mike Leach is the perfect embodiment of that saying, and what a lot of us old football guys try to do when our playing time is up.
Gabe, there are very few people in any walk of life, that can say they really were a change agent, that they found something and they made it different. Well, he did, learning as a collegian at BYU from Lavelle Edwards, as volunteer, student assistant, last person in the operation, I'm sure, at BYU in those years when some big football brains were coming out of that shop, from Andy Reid to Brian Billick to Lavelle Edwards himself. I mean, just countless. Those quarterbacks, McMahon and Bosco and one of the Detmers, and just so many coming. Steve Young, just so many football brains coming out of it. The West Coast offense really was hatched at BYU, and then this. And one of the things I always loved about Mike Leach is, you have these coaches that sometimes can take themselves so very seriously.
Yep.
And it is serious. It's big business, and everybody wants to win, but nobody can win all the time. Not even Alabama can win all the time anymore. And these coaches would have these Waffle House play sheets with all the codes on it and everything that looked like, launch codes at the Pentagon. And it looked like he had scratched on some notepad stationery before he left his hotel room to, don't forget to run the slot receiver to the short side more.
One of the smartest football minds we'll ever see. And that's how he wanted to conduct himself. That's who he was. He was a ball coach. Draw it up in the dirt.
Tell
his final day he was a ball coach, prepping for the bowl game. And obviously, I mean, when it comes to prayers for his family, the Mississippi State family, everybody else,
so many.
I really, and obviously prayers only do so much, but it's just tremendous loss, and hope our friends and the listening audience, everybody else can move.
Just crushing for his family, his grands, his daughters, but for the State family. And I'm going to be pulling hard as I can in the bowl game for Mississippi State. And to think 19 days ago, we were in the middle of all the fracas and another Egg Bowl and all the, the giving and taking that incites. But I mentioned yesterday, and it's been talked about a lot today, how he helped with Lane Kiffin, helped to really ratchet 100%. Down the temperature of that. I like my Egg Bowl just like it is. I like it when it's at thermonuclear rates, but also that it has been fun to see them. And Lane Kiffin loved Mike Leach. I got to tell this story. So Ole Miss plays and defeats Texas A&M this year. And late Saturday night game, and State had an open date that day. They were open that weekend. And late Saturday night, and as soon as the game ends, however long the time it took for Coach Kiffin on the field with the post-game TV interview and then to get to the locker room, and wild celebration in the locker room. And he speaks to his team, and they had me kind of over in a training room.
Right.
The A&M facilities are just so nice. It's incredible. They had an empty room with, like, massage tables and an X-ray machine. It was just super nice, and that's where I was going to do post-game with Coach Kiffin. And when he walked in, he's looking at his phone, and he's laughing. And I wasn't dare going to ask him what, because it was none of my business. But without provocation, without me saying a word, he said, Leach, man. And you could tell that Mike Leach had texted him.
Yeah.
As soon as that game was over. And he was kind of chuckling. He said, let's do this. And then we did his post game, and they loved each other. They really did. And they're both very iconoclastic, and they both have been good for the SEC. And think about this, Gabe. Think about when Mike Leach had been out of a job, whether it was after Texas Tech or after Washington. Well, he wasn't after Washington State because he left there to go to State. So I guess it was those years when he was kind of doing
Texas Tech to Washington State.
Every single job that came open on these airwaves, through any communication you could get, you know who those fans wanted to hire? They wanted to hire Mike Leach.
And you mentioned
Arkansas, Ole Miss, Tennessee. You go through them, every opening. People go, man, hire Pirate, hire Mike Leach.
You mentioned it, and obviously there's so many quotable moments from Mike Leach over the years. It's just a funny man and a guy who certainly let his feelings be heard. But I really did enjoy the end there of the Egg Bowl and how respectful I think both sides were. And Lane Kiffin spoke today, and I do want to play this sound because I thought it was pretty meaningful. When you talk about a rivalry with fan bases that could at times get a little dicey, I thought these programs, these coaches had a whole lot of respect for each other. This was Lane Kiffin today.
Like I said, I don't know. Maybe this is something for fans that Coach Leach and I feel brought here, that like there doesn't have to be hatred amongst the program and the people. You can have great rivalries and passion, and still love each other. And I loved him, and I feel like I kept hearing that was so unique. You're not supposed to do that here. And he would say the same thing, we'd always just hug after every event and say, see you next time, buddy. And I just can't believe that's not going to happen again.
And a lot of pain, no question. A lot of pain around our listening area, the state of Mississippi. Now, I I want to bring this up because I think it's worthy of it. And when we talk about the College Football Hall of Fame and what it entails, especially for coaches, I think they have a rule at this moment that 60% of your games must be won for you to be a part of it. And I think Mike Leach came up just short. He's 158 and 107, so 59%, 59.6. He's right there on the margin. I think that can be waived. I want it to, because I think no doubt, and I mean,
no doubt.
I've never
revolutionary.
I've never even crossed paths with Mike Leach. Didn't through the recruiting process. Never met him. None of that. Right, but
you got to hear him
for
media
me
days this year.
What? Yeah, at media days. No question. But like me talking straight to Mike Leach and exchanging words with him never got to happen. I wish it would have, but to me, he's a no doubt Hall of Famer for what he brought to the game and what he has done to what he had done to transform it. A trailblazer of all types of in all types of different ways. I mean, I hope that the College Football Hall of Fame can figure that one out pretty quickly.
I do too, and just never. I don't think it was any question that State would play in a bowl game, and officially and formally announced that they would. And then I thought, ironic, tomorrow afternoon at 4:00, Stefan Krajisnik from the Clarion Ledger, who's with us a lot and we just love, and he's going to be with us talking about Mike Leach and everything at Mississippi State. I think Stefan was the one that tweeted. I think he may have retweeted. Ironic that they will play in the bowl game that in the stadium a pirate ship sits in the end zone.
Of course, right.
How great is that?
Poetic as hell. I mean, you just look, it's so poetic. And David Cobb brought this up yesterday, and I think it's a very well put point. When we look at Mike Leach's career as a football coach at the college level, did a lot of it in the margins of big conferences, Texas Tech, Washington State, Mississippi State. But every single time he left those places in better hands than he found them. And I think there's something to be said about that. There's not a lot of guys in college football's history that you can say that about. They can take over those middle-of-the-line jobs in Power Fives and raise them to a level that they haven't seen.
Brian Haydad, that does sports talk radio across Mississippi with Richard Cross and Michael Borky, and covers Mississippi State so well and so closely, and knows that I had the honor of being with him at Richard and Jane Cross's house on Thanksgiving Day for a big lunch. I just wish people knew that in the Egg Bowl world we really love each other. Right. We really do. We just all want to win, and we're talking, and it's not anything close to a cross word. And he had a good line. He said, Mike Leach has coached at 3 places that it's impossible to get a direct flight into: Pullman, Lubbock, Pullman, and Starkville.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. And success followed at each place.
Yeah.
And what he did at Washington State, I mean, just looking back at
that
it.
year with Gardner Minshew
unreal.
was unreal.
Luke Falk.
I mean,
yeah.
Everybody talks about Graham Harrell and Crabtree, and that was unreal
that
team.
Was
and I saw them up close and personal. First time I really ever got to be around him any, and he was fun loving as all get out at parties and stuff at that Cotton Bowl. But to do it with Gardner Minshew, that was so much fun at Washington State, and then what he's done with Will Rogers, with Will Rogers' assault on the SEC record book. I mean, just has shattered everything.
Now, for the bowl game and moving forward, obviously we don't know what will happen with the coaching situation at Mississippi State moving forward. That's not the most important thing right now.
No.
It's dealing with what's ahead of you and getting those players in a good spot, the family in a good spot. Zach Arnett, for the moment, will be taking over as the head coach. Really good defensive coordinator. I know he had a whole lot of love for Mike Leach as well. So.
He did. Just as I said yesterday, and I've said all my life, just some mighty fine folks at Mississippi State University. Love Starkville, love the Golden Triangle, love going down there and play.
Now, we do have plenty on the show today, and we will. This will not be the last time we bring up Coach Leach and what he meant, obviously passing away today at 61. But the first half of our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. And we have some guests to get to. 3:30, Dave Voloshin will join us, voice of the Tigers, to talk about the Tigers tonight versus Bama. Bama, 6.5-point favorites Tigers will travel on the road to try to see what they can do. 7.5 grown. Okay, that makes it a little more tricky, but we'll get to our Tigers bankroll right there after Dave Voloshin. But Dave at 3:30, bankroll at about 3:45. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard will join us. I'm sure we will have to talk plenty. We will have plenty to talk about when it comes to Mike Leach and his legacy on not only the SEC but college football as a whole. Brent will probably have plenty of thoughts on that. We'll also talk about the college football playoff and everything that is to come with bowl season. Last night, Grizzlies beat the Hawks 128-103. I couldn't help. I think we're going to have a discussion about sort of load management, and I hate to bring it up, where I think we're at the third point of the season. We're done with a third of the season, but last night was, I think, when you look at that Grizzlies-Hawks game, part of the reason that the NBA product at times in the regular season gets down. Not a lot of guys going. Kawhi Leonard also, after their win, the Clippers' win against the Celtics, spoke up on what he thinks of the regular season. I think that sheds a whole lot of light on where a lot of guys' minds are when it comes to regular season NBA basketball. We have some NFL to get to. We'll talk playoff picture. Pats last night in Monday Night Football beat the Cardinals and capture that 7 seed. Very sad to see Kyler Murray go down. He does have a torn ACL, so it will be about a year of recovery, but they do expect him to make a full recovery. 5 o'clock, we will get into that discussion, the whole thing when it comes to the NFL with Bo Marchant. 5:45, we'll get out with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But if you want to hit us up, any thoughts on Coach Leach, any thoughts on anything we talk about today, listener line's there for you. 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us on our socials. Sports 56 WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And you can find everything, hours of the podcast, featured audio, at our website, sports56whbq.com.
Thank you, Gabe. Great job. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. That's Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on the remaining 2022 models. 2023s have mostly taken over, and of course, always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500. You'll start the new year looking great and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
When you look at the top story of the day, I think it's pretty simple. Tigers are traveling to Coleman, traveling to Bama, and Bama 7.5-point favorites, 8 p.m. tonight. Tigers at 8-2, right on the cusp of getting into the AP Top 25. If they win this one, they could catapult themselves not just into the top 25, but probably into the top 20, top 15, potentially. And you look at this game, after beating Auburn by 9, basically in a pseudo road game in Atlanta, this Tigers team is playing with some swagger about them. They know their identity. That's the biggest thing. You talk about early season college basketball. You can bring up experience wins ball games. You can talk about Kendrick Davis being an offensive nightmare for teams that have to oppose them. But the biggest thing for the Tigers is they have that identity, and it's helped them win ball games. They play defense, they bend down, they defend, they make you uncomfortable. And then on the offensive end, they don't try to be something they're not. They make their free throws, and they try to get inside the paint. They try to get inside the three-point line and make their shots. Not a big three-point shooting team, but tonight's going to be a massive test, and I'm curious what they do. They had those 4 games against the SEC out of 5, Ole Miss, Auburn. They're now 2-0. Are they playing with house money now? Can they be 3-1 or potentially 4-0? We'll see tonight.
I'm right there with you. Tonight in Tuscaloosa, it's the Tide and Tigers. That was a great bar, tavern outside of Legion Field in the day called the Tide and Tiger for a different reason, for Iron Bowl football. But in the heart of college football capital USA, Tuscaloosa, basketball takes over tonight. Bama ranked higher right now in basketball at 4th than they are in football. Just 5th in football. Ranked higher in basketball right now than they are in football. That's rare. And headed for the Sugar Bowl. But basketball dreaming of heading to a Final Four next spring in Houston. Big win Saturday over Houston, the Houston Cougars. And Saturday while Memphis was beating the other Iron Bowl team, beating Auburn in Atlanta. Tonight, Tigers and Tide at 8 o'clock. Memphis leads all time 6-3 in this rivalry.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, before people start texting in massively, I know they're 3-0 against the SEC. I'm talking about the 4 games they had ahead of them, starting with Ole Miss. It was Ole Miss, Auburn, Bama, and A&M. I'm talking about those 4 games in a row. 4 out of 5. So that's when I say 3-1, 4-0. Those are the games I'm referring to, just so we're clear.
Not top story of the day.
I mean, there's nothing else that could really be the not top story of the day besides the passing of the Pirate, Mike Leach. 61 years of age from a heart condition, had a massive heart attack on Sunday, and passed away today. Larger-than-life personality. We've covered all this, but also I do have to mention this when it comes to sort of what Brett brought up. 19 days ago, he was beating Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. The fragility,
19 days.
The fragility of this life, man. I mean, you can't take a day for granted. And I hate that we have to be reminded of that fact by things like this, but just make sure, don't take anything for granted. I mean, this is something that can happen in a split second, and no one had any thoughts of Mike Leach and what was going to happen here 19 days after the Egg Bowl. But it does. But he leaves behind a legacy just larger than life, and what he meant to the game of football, so monumental. So we will miss Coach Mike Leach.
Gabe, in my very fortunate life of going to college football that started 53 years ago today, going to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl to see Bama and Colorado play, that Thanksgiving night, that Egg Bowl, that I love that game so much and want to win so much, but don't always get to, is already appreciating even more and more State winning that 24-22. And as the years wear on, that'll grow bigger and bigger for me, that I was really glad to see Mike Leach win his last game. The Grizzlies, they did it again last night. They trounced Atlanta with a performance from bench and role players. You want culture, the Grizzlies have it. You want fun, the Grizzlies have it. You want a team you can really be proud of. This Memphis Grizzlies, they have it. 7 players in double figures last night, including, I love Brevin Knight calling David Roddy. Big body David Roddy. He was outstanding last night, had 11 points. Every single checklist you go down is check, fun, exemplary, and maybe something well into June we'll have a lot of fun with.
Yep, we shall see, but that'll do it for top and not top story of the day.
Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Start NFL Week 15 on Thursday night off with the NFL Same Game Parlay Insurance from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel, you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if you're 4+ leg Thursday night Same Game Parlay. If it falls one leg shy, NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday, like Christian McCaffrey over the rushing yards or Geno Smith over passing yards. If he can get back in there, Deebo Samuel, anytime touchdown. If he can't, a lot of other great players to choose from at FanDuel. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL all season long, but this Thursday night with a same-game parlay. Sign up a promo code SPORTS56 if you don't already have an account. If you do, if you already have an account with FanDuel, you're all set. Sign in and have fun and see what's there for you. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable. Free bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $25. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
How about Brock Purdy over the passing yards, Brett? How about that?
Book it.
How about it? My guy, Brock Purdy.
How about that 49er defensive front,
No,
Gabe?
they're ridiculous. They are
unreal. What they do to the other team in changing the line of scrimmage.
Well, an offensive line against the Bucs. I thought the Bucs had a good rush defense until I watched them this Sunday. They were getting rolled off the ball. Christian McCaffrey, 119 yards, a TD. They were just own the line of scrimmage against that Bucs.
Kittle over receiving yards.
They have so many. And even
you got your choices.
It's wild. Even with Brock Purdy in there, I still have a lot of trust in him. They look unbelievably good this year, and they're peaking at a really good time. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day, though. And when we come back, we have to talk about a team that may be peaking at a pretty good time, the Tigers. Tigers basketball tonight at Alabama. Big game, 8 p.m. Dave Voloshin will be on the call. He joins us next.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
So I've got the whole holiday gift thing knocked.
I'm guessing it has something to do with Central Barbecue.
Why would you assume that?
This is a Central Barbecue commercial.
Well, as it turns out, yes, it has to do with Central Barbecue. This year I'm giving everyone Central Barbecue gift cards.
Oh, so this is a Central Barbecue gift card commercial.
It makes sense. Everyone loves Central Barbecue, and this way they get to pick what they want from Central Barbecue.
I like it.
Plus, and this is the best part, I get to put an exact number on just how valuable a relationship is to me.
That's the best part.
When I give someone their Central Barbecue gift card, they'll be able to see that they are worth exactly $20 to me. Keeps everyone honest.
Well, that should be their new slogan.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
I work hard for this. I want you to know that.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave Woloshin is the voice of the Tigers, and he likes when I say this, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. He graces these airwaves as well, 560 AM, 98.5 FM, from 10 to 11, Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. He joins us now via the phone line. Dave, how's it going?
It's great. So I'm sitting here in Tuscaloosa, although I'm ready to see sunshine. I mean, this is absolutely depressing. I've not seen the sun in 4 or 5 days.
Well, I mean, here in Memphis, the weather's been kind of shaky as well. Is it that bad right now in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah. They got severe weather. We're driving back tonight after the game, and I know there's going to be 30 or 40 miles on that. It's incredible. You would think by now that once you get off 78, there's a 60-mile stretch between, I can't even remember the town, and Tuscaloosa. It's all 2-lane highway, and there's about 30 miles when we're leaving that there could be some severe weather tonight. So,
well, drive safe regardless. Drive safe regardless. Now, coming off that win against Auburn, 9 points, 9-point victory, I should say. Tigers got some good news yesterday. I want to start there with Demaria Franklin getting cleared. What do you expect from him? Obviously, he'll be available tonight. What do you expect from him tonight? And I think more than just tonight, he could be shaking off a little rust, getting his first playing time of the year. But what do you expect from him going forward this season, and what do you expect him to mean for this team in particular?
Well, you know, if I'm being totally honest, I haven't really seen him play. I know a lot. He averaged almost 18 points and like 8 rebounds for Illinois Chicago last year in the Horizon League. I know that 26 of the 28 games he played, he had double figures. I know that he had 10 games with over 20 points. I know he had 4 double-doubles. I know he can pass. He averaged 2.5 assists. He's a decent free throw shooter, about 67%. He's supposed to be an elite-level defender, as good as Alo. We'll see. I mean, he's never played the kind of competition. I know he started at Tennessee Tech for a year. I don't believe he's ever played in a game on ESPN against the number 4 team in the country. So how will he react to that? He's not going to start. I really haven't had the chance to talk to Penny because I actually came back from Atlanta to Memphis and then drove yesterday after the show to come here. So I've not had the opportunity, of course I will, to chat with Penny. But my guess is he'll come off the bench. He'll probably come first media timeout or right around there. I don't know who he'll come in for. My guess is it would probably be Jaden Hardaway, but I don't really know. And I think he'll have an impact. You know, it's funny in talking to a guy that hangs around the team a lot. He said that his impact will be similar to DeAndre Williams in his first game when he didn't know if he was going to be eligible and would get in. And honestly, DeAndre Williams is the last guy that Penny referred to the same way he has about Demaria Franklin. So I will wait to see, but I think there'll be some significant contribution by Franklin, if not tonight, at some point down the road.
Dave, you mentioned ESPN tonight, number 4 in the nation. Everybody knows what Bama did Saturday, know what the Tigers did, know what the Tigers' history and tradition in college basketball, that it is in the heart of the college football capital of this country. Around town in Tuscaloosa, do they know it's that big a game around town tonight?
Well, first off, it's a basketball school now, right? Whose ranking is higher? Basketball team's 4th in the country. What's the football's ranking right now?
5.
There you go. Higher ranked team, basketball.
Right.
I don't think, the crowd is going to be as big as it would have been if this were 2 weeks ago because the students are gone. That's a big plus for Memphis. We went to a place called Five because my friend Brett Norsworthy told me I should go there. That was cool. We went there last night. And then Brett, our friend Chad Gilbert, and his wife took us to lunch today at Pub Avenue, where we ran into Fran Frischella and Tom Hart. who are doing the game on ESPN2 tonight.
My favorite analyst, Fran Fraschilla.
And Fran put his arm around me and he goes, I really like your team. I really think that your team is playing so good that it's going to be a heck of a game. So Fraschilla thinks it's going to be close. You know, the line's 6.5. And Memphis is playing, Brett, Gabe, with house money. They've already taken care of the one game they had to. I said all along, if they win one of these two on the road, heck, they've taken care of business. So they've got house money they're playing with tonight. They shouldn't feel any pressure. You know, the one thing that Fran Fraschilla brought up that I really hadn't thought about, because I'm only thinking positives about Demarie Franklin. And I'm going to ask Penny about this on the pregame show, so make sure you listen to that. But you got to wonder when you bring a new guy in, no matter how good he is, how will it affect chemistry on a team where the chemistry since the St. Louis game has been incredible. Mm-hmm. So that's a part of the storyline.
And I look at the early season success they've had at 8-2 right now. How much do you think there is, you would say, obviously experience is part of it, but I think in early season college basketball, having an identity already snuffed out is massive. Does it feel like, because it certainly looks like it to me, that the Tigers know their identity and just play into it every game they go out there?
I think they know their roles, you know, and I think they play into it, particularly like two guys like Kennedy and McCadden. You know, they made a big difference in that Auburn game. They came in and they were playing with Kendrick as this one,
and Alex Lomax had the foul. Yep,
right.
Foul
so he's out. Right. They bring those two wings in, and they're playing. Kendrick Davis is your point guard. Those two guys brought a lot of energy, and that's what it was. They were setting up Davis and DeAndre Williams, and that worked to perfection. It's because these guys know their roles, accept their roles, and execute their roles. And you mentioned the experience. To me, that's another big part of the storyline today. If you look at Alabama, this is incredible. First of all, it's the first team I can remember that doesn't have Duke or Kentucky on there. They have 4 McDonald's All-Americans on that team. One's a senior, one's a sophomore, and 2 are freshmen. 4 McDonald's All-Americans. That's incredible. But their starting rotation, their 7 guys that are their top 7 guys, are really that senior, and then you've got 2 sophomores and 4 freshmen. I mean, that's incredible against Memphis, where I think average age, Memphis may be older than the Grizzlies. So
it sure could be.
It's experience versus youth and talent. It's going to be fun to watch.
Dave, what is something that the Tigers have done well, a positive, that maybe in preseason you didn't see coming? Kind of something that has really surprised you to the affirmative.
I would tell you taking care of the ball and forcing turnovers. Yeah, last year, most of the year, they had a negative ratio, which means that they turned the ball over more than they assisted. Now, I think they're 2 assists above turnovers. So that's a good ratio, and they're taking care of the ball, and they're turning you over. Their plus margin on the turnover margin, which means you create more turnovers against the other team that you have, is up. That's the best surprise, and I think it's a big part of why they're winning. I always look at those ratios. I think people look at me like I'm crazy, but I think that's big. Yep. And they've done a good job rebounding. You know, this Alabama team's the number 1 rebounding team in the country in both categories, offensive and defensive rebound. That's a big key tonight, is rebounding.
Mm-hmm. And Auburn was top 15 in offensive rebounding. The Tigers beat them in that category. Now, with the turnovers, I'm curious what you thought about that Auburn game. 19 turnovers. That was a season high. When you look at the Tigers getting that 9-point win, what would you sort of grade that performance at? I know a lot of people would say, hey, you basically had a pseudo road game and you beat the number 11 team in the country. But did you think the Tigers were really clicking on all cylinders, or were there some lapses at times?
Well, I think you got to look at who you're playing when you really judge that. I mean, that's what Auburn does that to you. So Memphis had 19 turnovers, but Auburn had 15 turnovers. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing you got to look at, Gabe, is take those turnovers. And this is why sometimes statistics can be misleading. The Tigers, I think the number is 19-11. I'm not 100%, but it's in that ballpark. Memphis won the points off turnovers.
Yep.
So even though they turned the ball over more times, they actually in that category won it because they scored 19 points off those turnovers, and Auburn got only 11. Mm-hmm. So, and Memphis defends. I mean, look at that team shot 38%. Auburn shot 38% the other night. If Alabama shoots 38% tonight, Tigers are going to win the game. I promise.
Dave, that's a heavyweight announcing duo. I know you. We all love Tom Harton. Superstardom, if he hadn't already achieved it, is on the way for him. And when I said Fran Fraschilla, my very favorite analyst, and here's why: just the facts, Jack. I don't think he's trying. I don't think he's trying to be showman. I don't think he's trying. I know he's not self-aggrandizing. He's not look at me. It's just the facts, Jack. And when he speaks, I listen.
Well, and I'm now really jealous of him because he's literally moved from Dallas, which his wife's from Dallas, loves Dallas. I never thought he'd get her out of there. But they now live in the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs.
Whoa.
I told him I'm really jealous of him now.
That is nice. They did move up. Yeah, he had a son at OU, and he's kind of stayed in kind of that Norman, Oklahoma City, Dallas kind of axis for a while, too. So to go to the Broadmoor, good work.
Oh, yeah. And the other son, he went to Harvard, then did not an internship. He was actually working as a coach for Jay Wright, and I think he's now an assistant coach back at Harvard. He's got smart kids.
Mm-hmm. Now, curious on this question because I sort of see it, and I wonder your thoughts being as close to the team as you are. When it comes to preseason expectations and what Penny's done in the past, he didn't do that this year. Let's be honest, he did not even remotely. Do you sense that the guys play a little looser because of that? Maybe the expectations weren't set as high, so they're playing a lot more comfortable and within themselves.
No, I think that's experience. Okay. I really do. When you look at that lineup, you see 50-year seniors, 50-year seniors, 50-year seniors,
27-year-old, right?
Seniors, right? So they've all been through it. Don't forget, you got guys that played on the NCAA tournament team last year, beat Boise, almost had Gonzaga. These games don't faze them. They've been around for a long, long time. Now I don't know about Franklin. We'll see that tonight. But even a guy like Keontae Kennedy, he's seen it all. He does not seem to get unnerved by the big stage like it was. It was a big stage in Atlanta with Auburn. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Now, real quick before we let you go, what's your travel schedule coming up for the holidays with the Tigers bowl game and everything else?
That's a good question. Still up in the air.
I got you.
We're not going to leave for Dallas until the team's leaving on the 23rd. We're going to leave Monday, probably after my show. On the 26th, and then I'll probably just come back after the game because we got a lot of basketball. I've actually got a women's game I'm doing on the 3rd. So, I'm sorry, now I'm confusing our trip to Tulane on New Year's Eve. So there's a lot of trouble.
Well, regardless, we'll catch up with you one more time before then. But until then, have a good time tonight. Have a good call. Appreciate you joining us.
Always a pleasure chatting with you guys, Brett. I will talk to you in studio tomorrow.
You got it. Thank you, Dave. Have a good one tonight. Be safe. Be very, very safe in that drive. Thank you, Dave.
We will. Thank you.
You got it. Dave Woloshin on the road with the Tigers, and everybody be safe and be mindful of everything around them right now. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas for everyone, all 200 associates with the Jason's Deli Group that we know and love in the Mid-South, and they really do appreciate everybody with them through these last 2.5, 3 years of challenging times for all of us when we had to learn to get it on the go and kind of hand it out the window at places and into your car. And we're so glad now to be back in the great locations that they have, like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. A Jason's Deli very close to you, whether it's dining in, to go, delivery, through pandemics and all. We appreciate Jason's Deli, and they appreciate you bringing more to the family, more to the table. It's a family thing for sure at Jason's Deli, and we're in the home stretch of office parties. Office parties back this year, bigger than they have been really since 2019. We know what happened in 20, and last year we were still a little skittish. This year we're mindful and careful, but they're back, and that's the perfect place to start. No order too large, no crowd too large, 5 or 5,000. Let Jason Deli set up the perfect holiday get-together for you. Healthy, first franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, and it's all about choice at Jason's Deli. And if you're in any of these locations, that great salad bar with over 30 items to choose from, you can prepare it however you would like. Plenty of organic food to choose from, all the salads, the meats, the breads, the spreads, the cheeses, all good and all good for you. And if you're in the location and you want to deviate from the healthy side, if you're at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, wrap it up with a complimentary free ice cream. You sure can do that. And Jason's Deli wants me to tell you they look so forward to 2023 and appreciate everybody with them through the years. And right now, even for the big day, if you need something kind of to supplement the big spread, like some soups, don't forget the Jason's Deli soups like the fire-roasted tortilla, the chicken noodle, the chili that I just love, the tomato basil, also very good at Jason's Deli. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Now we got a quick breakdown from Dave Woloshin about what to expect tonight. We give our thoughts on the other side, and we get to Tiger Bankroll. Tigers are 7.5-point dogs on the road to Alabama tonight. You're listening to Sports 56 98.5.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
My partners had told me I should get my knee replaced. I was in my 40s, and I decided that I wouldn't do that.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog, who found regenerative medicine years ago and became a believer.
It changed my life around. It improved me to a point where I was able to jog again.
That's when Dr. Herzog switched his focus from surgery to helping his patients with natural biologics.
I've treated at least 5,000 patients. I believe your body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Today, you'll find Dr. Herzog at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine that can give lasting pain relief with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery.
I have patients coming up to me that I did 10 years ago saying, Doc, my elbow's still working great. I'm playing tennis 3 days a week.
Call QC Kinetics now to explore alternative ways to deal with your pain. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. Well, it still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or just go to eBay Motors and get it right the first time. With over 122 million parts, they have the parts that fit your vehicle. Air filters, tires, headlights, brakes, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Looking for a bar with it all? Pimeno's Burgers Bar and Grill. Pimeno's makes football your fantasy with 17 TVs and $2 draft beers during the game, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know I love a great happy hour. At Pimeno's, $4 house cocktails, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Yes, $4 house cocktails. Try one of their signature drinks like the JJ Spicy Margarita or the Tennessee Sunset. How about a Memphis Mudslide? Or be a kid again with the Adventure River Rum Punch. Hungry? Try a fan favorite, Bacon Pimento Cheeseburger. Or be like me and try them all. The Mushroom Extravaganza, Sweet Heat, and the Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. Need I say more? Well, yes, because there's so much more than just pimento cheese. Sliders, salads, quesadillas, 10 different appetizers. Just don't forget about dessert. 2 great locations, 6450 Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, and in Collierville, 3751 South Houston Levee Road. A bar with it all, Pimeno's Burgers Bar and Grill. So much more than pimento cheese.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Let me tell you what Melvin Toast is packing right here, all right?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number.
Back rolling, Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. We have a matchup tonight in Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa between net rank number 5 and net rank number 38. Obviously, Memphis being 38, Alabama being 5. Alabama, number 4 team in the country, to be on ESPN2, 8 p.m. And we have some picks to make. 7.5 is the number we're working off of. Brett, real quick before we actually get into it, I know you probably have the bankroll stats right in front of you. I'll probably be making first pick, considering I am in the lead.
You will. You have the T, so to speak. You're 1,100, so that's plus 100. We all started with the courtesy $1,000. You're plus 1,100. Brian is at 1,000, and I'm at 600.
How about it? Okay. Well, I can't imagine you're betting the house tonight. I can't imagine. Game 11. Well, actually, never mind.
Half the house.
Okay. All right. We'll see. But I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna go a simple $20 on the Tigers plus the 7.5. I think a 7-point win by Alabama is probably a realistic number. We'll see what happens. If they make shots, a lot of things could be off the table for the Tigers. But I think the Tigers can stick in this game, make Alabama uncomfortable. I saw that game against Houston. Houston turned them over 15 times. I don't see why the Tigers can't do that as well tonight.
Brian?
Here's what I'm going to go with.
Okay. Let's hear it.
We saw last week Illinois beat Texas. Texas was, I believe, top 5 at the time. I don't exactly remember what they were ranked. Then they go out the next game, and they get beat by 20 by Penn State. Now, that is the deepest conference in college basketball. The Big Ten is awesome. All Penn State is a fantastic basketball team.
All right, Big Ten stan, Brian Dakin.
But Alabama goes to Houston, number 1 team. They beat them. Who do they play this coming up Saturday?
Zags.
Gonzaga. Those are 2 massive names in college basketball. I feel a letdown game coming here. I'll take the Tigers for 100.
Tigers for 100.
When you say letdown, what do you mean?
I mean that they're not going to blow out the Tigers.
Okay. We're not calling straight up win.
You know what? Go Tigers! Tigers by 15. They win the game.
All right, brother. Wow.
And then watch that net tomorrow morning. What do y'all think it would improve it to from? What are they currently at net?
38. 38.
Would it improve it?
20
spots?
They would then be 2-0 in the quad 1, and it's early in the season. I think they would get up. I'm curious. There's probably top 25 in the net, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. If
almost
not right
to,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the net, the metrics and how they use them sometimes gets a little wonky. But I would imagine they'd be in the top 25.
Well, if I'm wrong, then we will watch tomorrow morning eagerly to see where the Tigers improve to in the net. In the preseason, just straight up wins and loss. We all had this as a loss tonight. I think it will be a loss. I think Alabama gets there minus the 7.5, but I think it's barely. It's going to be white knuckler down the stretch if you're laying the points with Alabama. It feels like they'll just get over if they do. That's why I'm not going the house, just half the house. 300.
Oh boy.
Alabama.
Brett, for
minus
your
7.5.
sake, I hope you're right.
Well, actually, no. We need him out. Come on. We can get him up out of here.
Oh, that could be a bad – what is that? How many games do we have left after tonight?
If you're down 700 after 11 games,
that's
we are.
Good.
20 games left.
Yeah,
I'll have to go the $10 minimum.
Oh, Brett.
The rest of the way.
Oh, Brett.
To stay in the game.
Okay. The confidence.
That's what you want to call it.
I formally cede the scoring book over to y'all and just tap out during this segment.
Mercy me. This is going to be funny. And he's fading us, too. He's fading us, even though we've had the success. So we'll see.
I have not picked the Tigers against the spread yet.
I think this is my first time
all year.
The Tigers.
Well, I guess we'll see tonight. Brett could be out of luck.
Ooh.
It could be rough for you.
Or he could be back in the game.
Or
Who knows?
maybe. Who knows?
I'll almost pay the price to watch. I want to see what the net does. with a Tigers straight up win.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
That'd be
to see.
fun.
Now the Tigers, what they need to do tonight, it's very simple. And I think it's very similar in a lot of ways.
Got to play better than Saturday.
I think it's very similar in a lot of ways defensively to what they did to Auburn. Turn them over, bother them, try to blitz the ball out of their best players' hands. We watched what Houston did against Brandon Miller, and Brandon Miller at the end of the game hit 8 free throws to sort of ice the game over, but Houston and Kelvin Sampson bothered him massively, didn't hit a field goal the whole game. And I think Penny, looking at the film, do that to him, bother him, try to get the ball out of his hands as quick as possible and make other people beat you.
I'm not making any excuses, but I think it could be a sleepier house tonight on campus than it was Saturday at Phillips Arena that the Tigers are playing in. Students aren't in town. Rotten weather night. It's to those people, I'm sorry, it's basketball.
Yeah, I get that. Revenge factor, though, on the mind of the players, so it's not going to be an easy ride regardless.
Do y'all know how many – I found this out last night. Do y'all know how many rebounds Alabama averages per game?
How many?
It's 49.5. They almost average 50 rebounds a game.
That's unreasonable.
That's insane.
Now, that turns it into a lot more opportunity on your glass.
Here's the other thing, though. When we watched the Tigers against Auburn, what was the biggest point of contention? What was the thing we were talking about? You got to keep them off the offensive boards. Got to keep them off the offensive boards. Tigers did that. Tigers accomplished that. It's going to be a game plan thing. Now, I think it's different with Alabama because they put up 25 threes a game, so you have a lot of long rebounds, and they tend to bounce to them when they're hanging around on the perimeter. But we'll see what the Tigers do in regards to that. I also think if Demario Franklin can come back and help a little bit on the offensive end, that's all the better.
And just help. Don't try to be too eager.
No.
Just
it's your first
mesh
game
right
back.
in.
It's your first game back.
Just get your legs under you.
I wouldn't imagine Penny going and he's probably. I mean, Demario, I would imagine, is coming off the bench.
He is. That's already been announced.
Yeah, it's already been announced. So no reason to just force him out there. If he's uncomfortable early and you notice that, maybe pull him off, right? But Penny's been, I think, more so than past years. He's been really ready to make those switches when he needs to. So going to be an interesting one tonight and an important one, I think, for the long-term resume building of both teams in the grand scheme of things. Now, real quick before we get to hour number 2, let me tell you about a place that you need to go for Taco Tuesday. It's Humdinger's Restaurant at humdingersrestaurant.com. Also, if you're just showing up and you want to order those $2 fish, shrimp, and chicken tacos, you go to East Memphis, Poplar at Massey, 6300 Poplar Avenue, Suite 101. If you want to order, whether it's online, you can go to humdingersrestaurant.com or over the phone. The number is 901-260-8292. $2 fish, shrimp, and chicken tacos. 1 for 2, 2 for 4, 3 for 6. You keep doing the math. You can get fed really well for not a whole lot out of your pocket. They take care of you at Humdingers. They do it year-round, but those $2 fish, shrimp, and chicken tacos, make sure you call in and get those ordered. 901-260-8292. Also want to point you in the direction of Fit Fresh Meal Prep. If you have an issue with prepping meals at your house, Humdingers will handle that for you. Again, call that number, 901-260-8292. They have corporate and home catering with a healthy approach. 15 or more people, house, office, 901-260-8292. Also have to point you in the direction of a couple of things on the menu that are new, that are fantastic. The shrimp and grits will knock your socks off. They're great, and they prepare them very fresh, very good, some of the best in town. Also, in addition to Taco Tuesday, $2 fish, shrimp, and chicken tacos, you can get that piri-piri sauce. They go from mild to hot. It's all fantastic. Get the fish and chips on Friday. Fish and chips Friday, $8.99. $8.99. Battered fish, big meal, $8.99. They're trying to hand you out meals every week that will fill your stomach and not empty your wallet. It's very, very simple. Humdinger's Restaurant, Poplar at Massey, 6300 Poplar Avenue, Suite 101. And call the phone number, 901-260-8292. That'll do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2 on the way. We have some Grizzlies to get to, NFL to get to. But coming up next, some college football talk with our guy from Jacksonville, from First Coast News, Brent Beard.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wallow said hello.
This holiday season, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Ping and Bushnell. Save $150 off on the Ping G425 drivers, the most forgiving driver in golf. And there's hot gifts from Bushnell. Save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 shift rangefinders. We also have gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Main wreckage on the south side of the tracks. Report of male driver, late 20s, severe injuries.
Copy that.
Can you see the vehicle?
No, it's way up there. I heard a witness say the stop arm was down, but he tried to beat the train anyway.
Too many drivers are killed crossing railroad tracks, even though they know a train is approaching. What they don't know is, even after it breaks, a train can take up to a mile to stop.
Requesting ambulance stretcher to shuttle crash victim back to the road.
Copy.
Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
I think this is the best chicken I ever had.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling. Hour number 2 on Tuesday of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. I'm Gabe Kuhn. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy. Producing the program is super producer Brian Dacus. Joining us via the phone line also is Brent Beard, at Brent Beard on the Twitter machine from First Coast News in Jacksonville. Brent, I know that when we talk about bowl season and where we're headed with the college football playoff, we have some brighter, happier things to talk about. But I would be remiss if I didn't start with the void that we that we will have going forward with Mike Leach passing away at 61. I know it's a tough day for college football, the SEC family, Mississippi State family. Certainly a guy that we're going to miss going forward.
I am really grieved about this. It's such a loss in so many ways. I mean, he was so different and refreshing, and just not to be able to have that is going to be so difficult. I mean, there have been 3 stories, and I'll say them real quick, that really stood out to me. One was I was listening to the current Nevada coach talk about the relationship that he had when he was on the Washington State staff with Leach, and he said we were going to the Southern Cal game, and we were on the bus from the hotel to the stadium, and he said instead of looking at play and playbooks, said Leach was listening on his phone to Rosetta Stone trying to learn Spanish. another one was from Matt Hayes, who works for Saturday Down South. Said they had an hour conversation, and toward the end of it, that Leach heard the sound, and he said, "Coach, are you on the toilet?" And Leach said, "Yeah, the conversation was just so good, I really didn't want to move." And the third one was that the guy telling the story was in the room with Leach. Phone rings, Leach gets talking, and whoever he was talking to, it lasted for about an hour, and then somehow the call got dropped. So Leach called the guy or woman back, and they talked for another half an hour, and the guy in the room, just out of what you would say normal conversation after an hour and a half of someone being on the phone, says, "Well, Coach, who was that?" And Leach says, "I don't know. It was the wrong number."
An hour and a half with them. And Brent, we remember those mid-'90s where Steve Spurrier was really revolutionizing the SEC, bringing it out of the tailback tight end kind of dark ages that we were in. And then here comes Hal Mumme and Mike Leach at Kentucky with Tim Couch that the previous staff had running the wishbone.
Oh, yes. And I appreciate you saying Spurrier, because probably you could. Now, obviously, we had Spurrier down here. Leach was obviously more than you guys, got close to you guys, but I mean, Leach probably was the closest thing we had to Spurrier. I mean, he didn't win the championships as Spurrier did, but
he changed things.
He did. He changed things, and he had a personality to where he really didn't care. But the great thing is, and you see this all over Twitter, and when we hear it from our friends when we talk to them, was he would. When he was at Texas Tech, one of my media friends went through the SID department to talk to him, and the SID just said, "Look, here's his personal cell number. You call him because he's fine with that." Listen, and other people that he would actually call back. You can't imagine any of the coaches, the top 50 in America, doing that today, can you?
Oh, no. Absolutely not. And I was thinking about this too. Where does his coaching tree, the Hal Mumme, Mike Leach, where does that coaching tree rank in football history? I mean, not just college football history, but football history. Cliff Kingsbury, Lincoln Riley, Graham Harris. Like, there's so many guys that were brought up in that type of system and have done other things and have modernized it in some ways and changed it in some ways, but it all started there.
And look, even Alex Grinch is on that list. Considered one of the better defensive coordinators in the nation at this point. So, but yeah, I mean, when you had Hal Mumme as head coach and you had Leach as the offensive coordinator and the receivers coach. So, I mean, it was just that was the thing that was amazing. I mean, Josh Heupel was in that group. Neil Brown, who was at Troy, now at West Virginia. You can go on and on and on.
Dana Holgorsen?
Yes.
Dana Holgorsen there?
Yes.
Well, and now even Graham Harrell out there really distinguishing himself in coaching. It will go on forever, but because it really was kind of, you get the mad scientists together in the laboratory and they just start throwing solution and things into a beaker. It started with kind of the Lavelle Edwards, Bill Walsh, Andy Reid, Brian Billick out of BYU, and they went in the good kind of way mad with it and said, let's try this and it will work, and it will work on every level, and it has.
Well, and look,
and
I'll even give. I agree, and in the opposite direction, I'll even give Emory Ballard credit for the wishbone. And look, people poo-poo that, but you look at wishbone running stance, and they were as good as passing stance. There were a couple of things I want to say about this.
Isn't that something, Brent? You're right about Emory Bellard as the godfather of the wishbone. I don't think there's any doubt he was the inventor of it with Darrell Royal at Texas, and both Emory Bellard and Mike Leach eventually coached at Mississippi State.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it, Brett? When you think about that, two things I want to say real quick, and they kind of dovetail with each other. Number one, Mike obviously is the first that we've been able to figure out. I give Ross Dellinger credit for this. A sitting head coach in the SEC, the first who died since Bo Rain at LSU. And if I remember this right, Bo Rain never even coached a game.
He didn't. He had just been named as the head coach at LSU, and Bryant and I were talking about this in a break yesterday, and Bo Ryan had played college football for Woody Hayes at Ohio State and kind of came up in the Lou Holtz coaching tree, and it was Lou Holtz's successor at NC State. Ironically, Bo Ryan's successor at NC State was Coach Monty Kiffin. Wow. But Bo Ryan had just been hired and was going on a recruiting trip like somewhere in North Louisiana from Baton Rouge, and the same thing happened to his airplane that happened to Payne Stewart's, and I don't know the technical terms, but airborne it debilitates the pilots and the passengers, and it crashed off the coast of New Jersey.
And they had high hopes for Bo Rain. They thought Bo Rain was going to be an incredible find for LSU. But I think the thing I want to throw out here is, if there's any good that could come of this, and I don't know if they're going to do it because of the stubbornness of the profession, but I hope this gives a wake-up call to coaches on a lot of levels in different sports to actively look at their own health and to see what might be wrong with them. I don't know if it's mandatory, and I know there's money involved in this, but guys, coaches ought to have a yearly physical where they delve down into the heart with EKG, echo, or I mean, even to go further than that if they need to. I mean, it just so much is at stake. There's so much pressure. Sure, they've got all the money, but at the same time, I do hope something good comes out of this. As far as you've got coaches who decide, well, I'm going to go get a checkup, and they actually find something and maybe save their life.
I agree with that, Brent. It should almost be incentivized, because these guys, they don't stop for even blood work. They don't stop for even a stress test on a stationary. They just don't. It's rat-a-tat-tat all the time, and I hope you're right. One thing of so many things of these last few sad, mournful days, and got a lot of them ahead of us. But I believe in this. I will be. Both of my parents were. It brought great consolation. I mean, great feeling around their deaths in the final act for Mike Leach, full organ and tissue donor. I just love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. And who knows the number of lives that he saved through that, and which is a great selfless act in so many ways. And I agree with that. And look, guys, the questions come up today too is, what in the world and where does Mississippi State go? I mean, I know Zach Cornette's, but the D coordinator is interim, but I mean, will they look at him, or do they? Right. I'm sure that they would get a lot of names. Do they try to look for somebody that does the air raid? I just don't know. That there's so many questions here. And my Lord, you've got the other difficult thing for State is they've got early signing day next week, and how all that might be affected. The questions there right now are just endless.
Yeah, but certainly more important things ahead for that program, trying to navigate through a really tough time, and obviously prayers up for everybody involved, and hope better days are on the horizon. Last thing on this, then I want to transition to your Heisman vote. And I'm not saying this because of the time and because today is a tragic day. I look at Mike Leach and what he's leaving behind on the game of football. I mean, should the College Football Hall of Fame needs to make a decision here and probably put him in relatively soon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to vote for that, and I would certainly look at that. There's no question. I mean, usually, what is it, Brett? 5 years after you retire, you're eligible for that or something of that nature. If I've got that right, but yeah, whatever the criteria is, they need to revamp that and get him in as soon as possible.
No question.
And Brent, a way to push that is next year for Football Writers Association of America that both of us are a member of. I'm not a writer, but they expanded it to broadcast media as well years ago. I think at renewal time for membership next year, people should expressly say, I'm not renewing unless we waive.
Yeah, well, I like that. I really do. I think that would be extremely very appropriate to go along with that, too. I am glad that the network decided that they would run some specials on him. They didn't quite get to it early. But I'm guessing, and I haven't been able to watch for various reasons, but this day and even a decent amount of the week should be devoted to Leach.
Mm-hmm. Now, elsewhere, we had the Heisman ceremony last weekend. Caleb Williams gets the win, followed by Max Duggan, C.J. Stroud, Stetson Bennett. Are you comfortable with sharing what your ballot was? For your Heisman vote?
I'd have been comfortable sharing it with you last week.
Right.
They'd let me do it, but which I still think is a mistake that we're not able to do it like we used to do. But yeah, Max Duggan was number one for me. Bryce Young was number two, and Stetson Bennett was number three. So, and look, I've also talked with multiple Heisman voters who said that they were really turned off by Caleb Williams and what he writes on his fingernails. The latest being the F Utah, because there is, and it, it's not a 2 or 3 paragraphs, but that there is in that award, for lack of a better term, a character. I don't know if I want to say character clause necessarily, but at least one that has an upstanding reputation type thing, and there were writers who did not appreciate Williams doing that with his fingernails, and I'm going to have some of these NFL scouts will look at that too.
They won't care 1 second as long as he can make those plays that he makes, and that's unfortunate, but they won't. And he could go back to back next year. He will return to SC next year. They will be good. That offense, Lincoln Riley, fresh from the Mike Leach coaching tree, will be running that offense again. So he could join Archie Griffin next year back to back. One thing I wish the Heisman Trust would do, however many they're going to invite to New York, and they've kind of settled in at 4, sometimes above that, not always. If they're going to do that, let me have 4 choices on my ballot.
Well, that's a good point. Absolutely, instead of 3. And look, it's obvious having an extra choice that wouldn't take any more time to compute. Frankly,
couldn't be any more complicated because the instructions this year, Brent, I had to go take a night computer class to figure out how to vote.
Yeah. I was checking Rosetta Stone too to see if there was something in the hieroglyphics for that. Yes, to your
I was afraid I was going to hit the wrong button and tap into NORAD out in Colorado and set off a ICBM.
Oh yeah, absolutely. the extra added security with that did no one any favors this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was it like double, triple authentication where you had to get texts and emails sent to you? I'm still not clear on that.
And then it destroyed all my passwords and everything else.
Yeah.
You had to reset?
I understand.
Oh, that's always a bummer.
It's hard enough for me to remember them.
Yeah, I get that very much. Well, and without belaboring the point, Gabe, I mean, it would just they added some extra security, which meant that you had to download this, and then you had to.
Who's been hacking the Heisman site anyway? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But look, I actually, I won't call his name, but there was another Heisman voter friend that we actually did it together, both knowing that we probably have a better chance of doing it. Now, next time I may get my 9-year-old granddaughter to help me. We would have had no problem at all.
Oh yeah, you got to have somebody young to figure out how to vote for the Heisman, Brent. No doubt about it. Brent, a lot of talk the last few days about OU and Texas may be coming in now in 24. We know it won't be in 23. Yeah. That day at SEC Media Days 2021 of the breaking news, I would have bet you that day they would have been in 22 and no doubt by 23.
Right.
Now it looks like maybe 24. But we know for certain 25. What do you think on that? Do you think they will come in early?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the writers talk about that over the last little bit. That there is some growing momentum for the Big 12 to reach a deal, but it may not be necessarily imminent. The negotiations go beyond money and include TV network inventory. Which is a real obstacle. I'm not sure what the real details of something like that would be, but I don't know if the deal here is we've got it 25. If you go, you got to pay us a lot of money to get out. Where that is at this point, but the sooner that can happen, the better.
I was thinking about this the other day, guys, and I don't know if I have a good estimation. I'm curious y'all's thoughts. When we get to 2026 and that contract is renegotiated and re-upped, and I think they're trying to go for the college football playoff, of course, and I think they're trying to go the Big Ten route of trying to spread it around, whether it's CBS or NBC, whoever it is, they're trying to spread it around. What do you think that number is going to be per year?
Good.
What do we think about that? If the Big Ten's $1 billion,
that's a great question, Gabe. That is a great question. Is. You know, something that has hit the back burner. We thought by now the SEC would have blown out early from that CBS deal. That still hadn't happened. That's just peanuts compared to what it can draw. Now, because I thought for sure they would be out by now, and definitely before the 23 season. Doesn't feel like that's going to happen. We know that's going to be a blockbuster number.
Well, and look, what's going to add to that, and who knows where this is going, what other entities are going to be involved with this by then. But we're concrete thinkers here, thinking about CBS, ABC, NBC, and ESPN. The other streaming situation, or what's going to send it into orbit. That's going to be included in that. And listen, Gabe and Brett, we don't even know now what by 26, what other, my stars, there may be some streaming entities then that hadn't even been invented yet that's going to be on the forefront and add even more money to it. I mean, look, to Gabe's point, Brett, I mean, we're talking multiple billions of dollars involved with this. I mean, my stars, can we put enough zeros down for that deal?
Man, just imagine how hard voting for the Heisman will be then.
And to your streaming point, I was interested to see, like with the Big Ten deal and what Kevin Warren did, it wasn't really a streaming deal. There wasn't a big emphasis on
It'll be
streamers.
in the next one.
right? I sort of wonder what the college football playoff does, but by 2025, I'm sure they'll have something ironed out with a whole lot of streaming platforms to deal with.
You better believe it. Yes.
Yeah. But always good stuff, always fun.
Thank you,
Brent, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, and again, prayers for the Leach family and all folks who have been affected by that. I don't remember a death in the league that has affected all of us in quite a while as this one has.
Yep. Well said.
Very nice touch, Brent. Thank you so much, Brent.
Always.
Brent Beer talking college football with us every week, and he will be back with us next week. Next Tuesday afternoon. We may not get on until about 4:30 or so next Tuesday for Ole Miss basketball that afternoon. It's that afternoon holiday game, so it might be week after next where we catch back up with Brent. At Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet, Kevin and Jeff, they asked me to wish each and every one of you and your families a very Merry Christmas. They appreciate our great audience. We appreciate them for being with us through all these years. They appreciate it whether you bought from All-Star or not. They want everyone to feel right at home at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch down Highway 78, first exit into Mississippi at Kraft Goodman Road. You're there. If you want something new to drive for the holiday season or the new year, maybe a new Silverado or Tahoe, Suburban, a Traverse, or you just need to sell your car, call or come by and see Jeff or Kevin. They have everything you can imagine in certified and pre-owned vehicles. If you need service before heading out for the holiday trip, off to a bowl game, call and ask for Jeff or Chance in the service department or go to allstarautogroup.com. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Bartlett, Mount Moriah, or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads and new fun for the holidays at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a happy 2023 from everyone at All-Star Chevrolet.
Now, Grizzlies beat the Hawks last night, 128-103. Also last night, Clippers end up beating the Celtics, running away by 20, and Kawhi spoke up about what he thinks of regular season basketball. We'll talk about the Grizzlies win, and also I think there's an interesting discussion to be had about the NBA product as a whole based on what we saw last night. We'll be right back on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
At the Home Depot, we have the tools for you to give the gift of a smarter home with savings on top brands, like the Google Hub, a command center for your smart devices that raises the IQ of your entire home, or the Nest Learning Thermostat that helps you conserve energy and save on your bill. And if you don't know what to get, gift cards are a smart gift no matter what they get. So this year, gift smarter with savings on tools to make your holiday magic. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Whether it's a small clog or a larger mainline sewer drain issue, the experienced technicians at Conway Services are ready to solve all your drain problems. For a limited time, take advantage of our 93 or it's free drain clearing special. Feel secure knowing the trusted professionals at Conway Services guarantee that if we can't clear it, you don't pay for it. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
To
getting to be that time again. The year's coming to an end. We're starting to make plans for 2023. But don't wait until next year to take care of your health. M-Drive supplements are formulated specifically for men to support healthy testosterone, energy, strength, and overall health. M-Drive's not one of those companies that tries to make you feel bad about yourself, then promise to fix everything. M-Drive's for motivated guys who want the energy to do the things they love. No magic pill to make you feel 20 again. But if you're driven to put in the work, M-Drive's clinically tested ingredients can help you go that extra mile. Start that new hobby, finally clean out that garage. To help you go into 2023 swinging, 20% off, the promo code is HEARD at mdriveformen.com. Their top-selling M-Drive products are in stores like Rite Aid and Sprouts. Now's the time. Get started. 20% off. More energy, strength, and drive. Promo code HEARD at mdriveformen.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78 Lamar and the first exit in Mississippi Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai. State-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Bon appetit.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Papa was a Rolling Stone, but now I got Rolling Stones in the bezel.
So, I hear the radio broadcast for the Memphis Grizzlies consistently talk about professional wins. Professional wins. Workmanlike attitude. Going in, getting wins that you're supposed to have, whether you're at home or on the road. Grizzlies improved last night to 18-9, and I think last night was what you would absolutely term as a professional win. Next man up attitude, and I know how cliche that's becoming, but although they were down Ja, Bain, various other guys,
Steven Adams,
Hawks down Trey, John Collins, DeJounte Capella, they win 128-103 going away. Tyus Stones, if you will, was fantastic again last night in a starting role. It was just fantastic in a starting role. 22 points, 11 assists, only the 3 turnovers, had 3 steals to add to that, 4 for 7 from 3. This team, no matter who's out there,
Kennedy Chandler.
I know how cliche these discussions become, but when you talk about culture and you talk about a winning attitude, that's what the Grizzlies have embodied so far this year.
It really has been. Gabe, I mean, just...
I hate how corny, because day to day this is the same discussion. It just becomes corny after a while, but it's the truth of the matter.
But it's so fun. You look around the league now, 8 out of 10, 6 straight. This homestand has been what it needed to be. One remaining against Super Freak Giannis on Thursday night. Tonight, 2 past champions dueling it out with Bucks versus the Warriors tonight. But we get to see Giannis on Thursday night at FedEx Forum, and then a really challenging road trip for a lot of reasons. The time of the year, one of the biggest challenges for everybody in around sports to have to be away from home at this time of year. But this team, how hard one here, and I'm serious, of all the things basketball related on the floor, this front office is pulled off. What do you think is the best one?
I mean, getting Desmond Bain as the 30th pick or whatever he was, that's the one you look at, and
that's really tough to argue.
I can't really, and I know he's hurt right now, but I can't really go anywhere.
Let me boil it down. Maybe it wasn't so high or so hard. Second best, because I think that probably is it.
Second best.
I swear, Steven Adams for JV.
Yeah, but you know what? There is such thing, because you always talk about winning trades. going back and forth. I think both teams won that trade. Both teams got what they wanted in that situation. Steven Adams, a lot less offensively inclined, passes the ball out of the post, not sort of the black hole that Jonas
former
can
villain
be at times.
around town.
So, as much as I think you can look at the stats and say, oh, well, Jonas Valanciunas is just outperforming Steven Adams by a mile, the fit is all you need to look at with Steven Adams and the winning that follows.
Culture and fit.
Yeah. So I think that's up there.
What if that's your Western Conference Finals? Steve Adams versus JV.
1-2 right now. They're 1-2 right now. And, I mean, all these other teams are struggling to a certain extent. Nuggets, Suns, not playing their best ball. Clippers got that big win last night. We'll talk about that in a second. Mavs have struggled. Warriors still struggling, not winning games at a high clip. Those have been, I mean, when you talk about consistency so far in the early going, even with injuries here and there, guys sitting out, those two teams, young and still hungry and imposing their will.
Willie Green and Taylor Jenkins. Yeah, and it has been imposition. It has been.
Jaren last night, though. We have to bring this up.
That was imposition.
That was ridiculous. What? I know he's playing, G League Hawks, whatever. 8 blocks. 8 in an NBA basketball game. That's ridiculous. That's unreasonable production in regards to protecting the rim. Like I look around the league and you talk about Rudy Gobert, you talk about Miles Turner, all these guys who block shots at a high level. Jaren Jackson Jr., I mean, he's certainly top 3. I don't think he's 3. It's unbelievable what he does night in, night out, and also with the offense coming along the way it is. Last night, probably not his best night at the office since he's been back offensively. But 50% from the field is what he has been consistently doing, shooting better from the three-point line, attacking guys off the dribble consistently when he gets a matchup he likes. He has grown so much as a player in a short time.
And for the Grizzlies, a winning team, lusty 9 games over 500, it usually makes for great chemistry and great locker rooms. But it does. It feels like every one of them really bought in with the guy beside them, behind them, in front of them. They don't care where the points come from. They don't care who's getting the credit. And that starts when your best player has that attitude.
Is it fair we talked about, you brought up a high hard one, talking about wins for this front office. Can we call Santi Aldama a win at this point based on draft position and how this has worked out? 16-5-2 last night.
I say W. Do y'all?
I think so far, yes. I think so far. I can't chalk it up as an L. I didn't think he'd be able to. I mean, when we talked about that draft night, a lot of people had him off the board, not even getting picked first or second round. They pick him at 30th, take a complete flyer that we all smack down, and he has been a not just productive player off the bench, but probably one of their best, if not the best player off the bench from a consistency standpoint. Obviously, Tyus Jones there as well. But Santi Aldama.
What's at the top of your Grizzlies wish list other than good health, good fortune, and things like that?
In the NBA, I think you can always boil down your wants and needs to shooting, right? I think you always want that, but I think they shoot well enough, especially when Desmond Bane's on the floor, to go win ball games. Zaire, that's the one thing you could point at if you're trying to find something that's a little bit negative. 0 for 10.
Still coming out of the
0 for 10 from 3 in his 3 games back. That's not something you want to see.
This is his preseason, remember?
Yes, and he's a very, very young player. So it's nothing to freak out about, but he's been,
not at all.
He's been very rusty. He's been he's I think on the defensive end he's been okay, and I think he at least spaces out the floor, and he's been okay with the ball in his hands. But the shooting and the offensive ability have not shown through yet.
We take 2-2 on this roadie coming up after Milwaukee on Thursday, road trip at Oklahoma City, Denver, Phoenix, and Golden State. 2-2?
I think 2-2 is gorgeous. 2-2 gorgeous.
3-1. Ticker-tape parade when they get back home Christmas night.
3-1, you're very incredibly happy. But 2-2, I think, should be expectation. You look at, or not even expectation, I think that would be a pretty high mark at Nuggets, at Suns, at Warriors in a row. And you got those 3 games in 5 nights, basically. That game against the Thunder, you need to go handle business. If you lose that one, you start to wonder about what that road trip could become. But 2-2, I think, very fair. Very, very realistic as well with the way this team's been playing.
And I would sure settle for that, and I think reasonable people, that's plenty for them. Anything better than that, 3-1 or 4-0, it officially starts around the country. The Grizzlies can win it all this year.
Yeah, I think so. Now, that game last night, just watching it visibly, I hate to do this because I agree. I think in a lot of ways load management's a good thing for players and health. And, they have these guaranteed contracts and governors, if you will, and GMs. They want to make sure that the assets they have on the team are healthy and willing to play consistently. Now, last night, no Trey, no Ja, no John Collins, no DeJounte, no Desmond Bain, no Clint Capella. You can't even begin to lie about the fact that is not the best product in the world. I mean, you can sit there and you can talk about. I think the NBA is fine. I think there's a lot of reasons, especially in hometown cities, to like the product that's out there night to night. You're rooting on your team. I get that. But you can't sit back and act like that's not an issue with where we're at with the NBA's product. And a lot of people discuss it. A lot of people talk about it. I'm not one that's just completely disengaged because of it. But you can't sit back and ignore that.
You sure can. And what if Thursday night is that night that it's a scratch for Giannis, the only time we would see him all year in this market?
Right. And like these nationally televised games coming up, at Nuggets, at Suns, at Warriors, you're missing Steph, you're missing Ja, you're missing these guys for some of those nationally televised games. That doesn't add any intrigue for people to go tune those games in on a Tuesday, Friday, Sunday night.
It's almost the faking the injury in college football. I don't know how you really stop it in the NBA, because, as you said, those teams they have a formula now and they can set down anybody.
But I'll say this, Brett, can you ignore it? If you're the guy, the head honchos at the NBA, and you see these things happening, you see people being disengaged with your product on a random Tuesday night on TNT because everyone's out, you can't ignore that.
That was a good Monday night crowd last night.
Yeah, 100%, and that's about local markets rallying behind their team no matter who's out there. And I that there's something to be respected about that. But if you're in the NBA offices, you can't just sit there and let that pass by and not pay attention, right? You have to
season
to start
ticket holders,
thinking,
TV partners.
You have to think about these things. And I don't think there's an easy fix. I don't think there's anything that you can do in the current right this second to make everything right. But, down the road, it's something that Adam Silver, his office, they have to address.
But a week ago, Ja Morant was a scratch, and we saw video from various media outlets here in town of him out there pregame playing dodgeball. He was fine.
I get it, and it's a rest night. And you look at what the Hawks did last night. It was the second night of a back-to-back. They're on the road. I get why you want to rest your best players. I get it. Scheduled loss, move on, try to be healthy moving forward with your schedule. But at the same time, not having all those guys out there, your fans get disengaged. Now, also last night, the Clippers beat the Celtics 113-93. I think it was by the way, first time that Kawhi Leonard scored 20 this year. That's because he hadn't been on the floor. But PG had 26, Kawhi had 25. I think you saw last night, this is the reason that I think at times you need to be scared of the Clippers and what they could be. What they could be. Mm-hmm. I want to stress that. And after the game, on this same topic, Kawhi was sort of asked the question about the regular season and sort of what he thought about it. And this is what the exchange looked like.
You're kind of unmarked, on pace where you want to be.
No. I wish I could have played more than the games that I missed, but.
Tonight, what you did tonight, is that?
I'm not worried about tonight.
No indication of how far you've progressed?
No, I don't want to be here tonight. I'm focusing on the end of the year, playoff basketball. Doesn't matter about tonight.
You hear that? Does not matter about tonight. I know it's from an audio perspective, it gets tough, but
he's got 4 months until the first playoff game.
Brett, everything we talk about with the Clippers, I say, do they care about regular season? Kawhi basically said, no.
He said.
He said if you didn't hear the exchange, he was basically asked about where they were and if he was happy with it. He said he doesn't care about tonight. He said he did at one point. He said he did not want to be there.
I'm gonna pull a Yogi Bear here. It goes quickly. 4 months is a long time.
I agree, but he said he did not want to be there last night in their 20-point win over the Celtics.
Yeah.
So,
he's got a lot of nights. He's not going to care then.
We can do all we want. We can, and obviously Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were playing. Everybody was healthy in that game, so it was a marquee matchup in the NBA regular season. We can talk all we want about the NBA product and where it can head and how good it is once we get to the playoffs. But this regular season thing, these players have a different mindset completely on what this season means. So I know the NBA doesn't have quick fixes. I know they don't. But again, for the millionth time in this segment, you can't ignore what's happening. You cannot ignore it. Now, second hour of our show brought to you by our good friends at the Big Green Egg. I always talk about your best ability being your availability. Pretty cool for me to bring that up right after we talk about guys sitting out regular season games in the NBA. But you always want to be available as an athlete, or if you want your grill available 24/7, 365 year-round. Big Green Egg is the last grill you will ever have to buy. 2 different reasons that is the case. Highest quality ceramic on the market, so it will not rust. Also, they've had a warranty on all those ceramic parts since 1995. Yes, since 1995. So if you have an issue with one of those parts, one goes malfunct, you send one in to our friends at the Big Green Egg. They send you one back free of charge. You get it attached. You get rolling. It is 100% natural lump wood charcoal grill, so the flavor is going to be superior to that of a gas grill. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, get a pizza stone, go on their website, buy some of the rubs that they offer. Everything that the Big Green Egg offers is fantastic. And also, think about it for the holidays. We're getting very, very close. Christmas, whatever you celebrate. I know Dad does a lot of grilling, a lot of smoking. He would love a Big Green Egg. And it comes in 7 different sizes, so you can find a size, a price point for you that fits for you, your dad, whatever you want to get him for the holidays. Go check out our good friends at the Big Green Egg. And you can find it at these retailers around the area: Garden Spas and Pool, Germantown Hardware, Hamilton's Fireplace and Grills, and both the Aces in the Memphis area: East Memphis Ace and Cordova Ace Hardware. So if you're looking for a do-it-all, reliable, long-lasting grill at a great price point, look no further than our good friends at the Big Green Egg. Let's go ahead and get to our final segment of hour number 2. And we're going to switch gears completely. We have some NFL to talk about. Monday Night Football put a wrap on Week 14 of the NFL season. And the Pats captured the 7th seed in the AFC last night. We'll talk about the playoff picture when we return.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
The season has changed. You know how I know? It's finally here, the Family Leisure Christmas Sale. Excellent deals on pool tables, shuffleboards, and saunas. Oh, we're just beginning. Tired and sore from shopping? Check out the huge selection in stock of hot tubs and massage chairs. Oh, and you can surprise the kids with the best stuff, like a new arcade, a game table, even a play gym. Gifts for the whole family to enjoy and enjoy together. Also on sale: theater seating, outdoor kitchens and grills, patio furniture, and fire pits. Merry Christmas from our family to yours. That's Family Leisure of Memphis. Every year we wait. They always deliver. They've done it again. The Family Leisure Christmas Sale is happening at I-40 and Whitten Road. That's 2120 Whitten Road to be exact. That's the place of shopping heaven. Family Leisure, where family and fun all come together.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events that let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Bienvenidos. Welcome to Los Cabos with 4 locations: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and now on Goodman Road. Los Cabos serving the best food in town with quality service and a fun family atmosphere. At Los Cabos, food and drink are an important part of the dining experience, so you get exceptional food with cocktails worthy of that food. You'll find the best margaritas at Los Cabos, along with delicious specialty drinks, handcrafted cocktails, beer, and happy hour specials 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Los Cabos is open for lunch and dinner, with lunch specials every day starting at $7. Come enjoy delicious Mexican dishes and seafood at the best sports bars in town. Visit with family and friends and enjoy Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill. Los Cabos, now with 4 locations: Quince, Bartlett, Germantown, and their newest location, 3964 Goodman Road, just a few minutes down the road from Getwell. See you soon at Los Cabos.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Oh, nothing but the best.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Rolling right along. Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. Hit us up. Listener line's right there for you, 901-360-8255. Text us. Questions, comments, concerns. Also, watch us live and message us on our socials, Sports 56 WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and go to our website for everything, sports56WHBQ.com. So last night, the Patriots get the win over the Cardinals, 27-13. I think the biggest thing that came out of that, and very unfortunate, and we'll start there, Kyler Murray, torn ACL. Brutal. I just with all of the stuff that's being said about him, I know he's got his long-term contract all taken care of, but where that team's at, they're at 4-9 now.
Feels like the big house cleaning coming in Phoenix, doesn't it?
He's gotten smacked around by the media. It does, though, Brett. It feels like the Cliff Kingsbury era is going to be over very quickly.
Here's one. What about this? Because there's a lot of talk about the change of coordinators at Alabama. Cliff Kingsbury out as the Cardinals coach. At the same time, Bill O'Brien's out as offensive coordinator in Tuscaloosa. Cliff Kingsbury with Nick Saban.
But no, he can coach offense. I wouldn't call it a bad hire. I'll say that right now. I would not call that a bad hire if it was made. I wouldn't lose my mind. But at the same time, I feel like Cliff Kingsbury, there's some shortcomings with the way he has been coaching this year, and it's shown through. The run game's not great, and also in the red zone,
they're disciplined.
the red zone, the tight red zone, he's had his struggles with play calling. We can't even fake
Hollywood Brown. I've said it many times about him. We need you to be Hollywood and not Glendale Brown.
Glendale? Are we even at Glendale right now? With
You're
him?
kind of Anaheim Brown.
Yeah,
You're not really Hollywood.
He hadn't done much this year with the Cardinals, and we thought that would be a great change of scenery for him.
He didn't do much with the Ravens.
Yeah. My heart breaks for Kyler Murray. This is not going to help him with any narratives that the media draws long term. This is going to hurt him.
And last night, it was like the Patriots finally realized they have Hunter Henry on the team.
You mentioned that before.
I did.
Before the game, too. They had the nice throw down there to get them into the red zone. They capped off that drive. It was an easy win.
My Patriots kicker came through for me on my 4 most important players.
Relatively easy win for the Patriots. Now let me ask you this though. Long term, I know what Mac Jones was his rookie year. I mean, are you a believer in Mac Jones?
I was last year, and I promised you earlier today. I told someone we're watching before our eyes Mac Jones's mechanics go the wrong way. They weren't like this at Bama. They got better every single year at Bama. They got better last year. It is a steep digression of his natural mechanics.
And it's because I don't think he has any good leadership on his offensive staff. No one's teaching him how to play quarterback at a high level. Joe Judge ain't doing that. Matt Patricia ain't doing that. So I sort of, in the grand scheme of things, I still stand by what I said yesterday. I know they won a ball game. That's not gonna change my. But I stand.
I'm still ready. I'm still ready for Matt Patricia to go to the pencil and actually make a note with it.
Good point. I stand by what I said about Bill Belichick yesterday. Still, I mean, I'm not going to change my mind overnight. But
if that's the seventh
one
seed,
of the greatest of all time, but at the same time, he's not above criticism. And what he's done surrounding
Troy
a young
Aikman was laughing at the play of that game last night. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but to surround your rookie quarterback with that leadership, that's bad, Bill. You should know better than that.
It is. That was bad football last night. And Troy Aikman made a point of that and was laughing at the play.
Yep. And I don't know what the Cardinals do from here. If they move on from Cliff Kingsbury, who are they going to hire? Who could fill in? Who could get that team right? I don't know. I think Kyler Murray's a great talent at quarterback.
Sean Payton's the answer for everybody.
Yeah. We're going to have to see what he looks like, though, Kyler Murray, come next year after ACL reconstruction. Also, Pats, with that win, not clinch, I should not say clinch, but they're at the 7th spot over the Chargers. And I want to point this out because Pats and Chargers both at 7-6, and the remaining schedule kind of favors the Chargers. Pats finish with at Raiders, versus Bengals, versus Dolphins, at Bills. Kind of murderer's row in a lot of ways down the stretch of the season, although by the time they get to that Bills game, Dolphins game, I don't know how much they'll be jockeying for position. But the Chargers versus Titans, at Colts, versus Rams, at Broncos, I would take the Chargers schedule.
I'm for
the
Chargers. I want something different.
And also, it'll be a shame because narratives get created off of this type of thing. But if Justin Herbert doesn't get through into the playoffs this year, people are going to start unfairly labeling him, and I don't want to see that happen.
Well, I think the coach will get more criticism this year.
Sean Payton's the answer in L.A. too, right?
Yeah, he's the answer everywhere.
He sure is. Now, before we get to hour number 3 of the show, and we talk with Bo Marchand on some more NFL, got to tell you about a place you need to go to for a little bit of dinner tonight. That's Central Barbecue, where smoke is their sauce. Slow smoke Memphis style barbecue. You can get it a lot of places around town, but Central Barbecue has the best, and I stand by that fully. 5 different areas, 5 different locations that you can use to go get some Central Barbecue. Midtown on Central Avenue, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer, the one on Poplar that I frequent. You can also order delivery from that Poplar location, and the one in South Haven. So our Mississippi listeners, go to Getwell Road in South Haven and get you some Central Barbecue. Start with those smoked wings. You can get them honey gold. You can get them dry rub. You can get them however you'd like. Sausage and cheese plate. Get the smoked turkey once you move on a bun, on a plate, everything that you want. They have the sides, beans, greens, slaw. They have gluten-free options, vegetarian options for you at Central Barbecue. And the desserts, 4-layer cake. Listen, I always go with the banana pudding. You can get a big old tub of it. But I'm telling you, Sorry, not 4-layer cake. The 5-layer cake, I should say. Get that 5-layer cake. I'm telling you, 4 different flavors. Strawberry, chocolate, caramel, and vanilla. They're all fantastic, moist, great 5-layer cake. Now, if you want to ship that barbecue, I know we're getting to the holidays, friends, family, go to eatcbq.com, click that shipping tab. You can ship that barbecue anywhere in the U.S. of A. and do it for the holidays. A lot of folks don't get to get this good Memphis-style barbecue year-round. Take care of them. Take care of them. Also, when it comes to catering, 15 or more people, house, office, call this number, 901-527-9990. Again, 901-527-9990. But if you're just looking for a meal, every single day, 5 locations, Midtown on Central Avenue, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer, the one on Poplar, and then the one on Getwell Road in Mississippi in South Haven. Central Barbecue Smoke is their sauce. Hour number 3 on the way. Bo Marchand's next.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
When cold symptoms keep you up, try Vicks NyQuil Severe for max strength nighttime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks NyQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Get some rest and feel better with Vicks NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, sore throat, stuffy nose, fever, best sleep with a cold. Medicine. Use as directed.
Think about your happy place. Maybe it's your sofa on game day. Maybe it's your fishing boat. Maybe it's box seats with a limitless supply of nachos. Wherever your happy place is, Driveway lets you buy or sell a car from there. With one of the largest selections of new and used cars available, Driveway.com lets you browse, finance, and purchase wherever and whenever makes you happy. Buy or sell a car from your happy place at Driveway.com. Financing on approved credit.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
You drove it, you love it. What more do you need to know?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Third and final hour on a Tuesday is upon you on Sports Time, on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. I am Gabe. He is Stats Bryant Dacus, super producer Bryant Dacus, producing the program. And joining us via the phone line is our guy on the NFL from collegetopro.com, and he does NFL Draft for Sports Illustrated. He is Bo Marchant, at Bo Marchant on the Twitter machine. Bo, how's it going?
It's going great, guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. No real complaints.
That was probably the end of Mike Tomlin to keep the streak alive. I knew it was becoming more fragile when Mitch Mitchell ran out on the field. Good Lord, that guy.
I loved your text Sunday afternoon. I think after the third one or the second one, it was just so comical. It's typical Mitchell Trubisky play. In an odd way, we all know Kenny Pickett is the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers, barring he doesn't play well, blah blah blah. But if Trubisky would have had a lights-out game like he did a few weeks back when he came in relief of Pickett and the Steelers won and they looked really good, I think it creates more, topic of conversation of, well, maybe Trubisky should be the guy. So in a weird way, them losing, and again, the year that they're having, and speaking to a lot of people in the fan base, they don't want them to win. It's draft pick time now, so they don't want them picking 22nd. When they're in the hunt for possibly a top 5 pick, I think they elected, hey, you know what, suffer the consequences of a bad season, and then next year you can maybe.
Who do they want? What do they need? Who do they want?
Well, I mean, I think Willie Anderson out of Alabama would be a guy that you got to look at right off the cup. And then an offensive lineman. I don't think they would
Steelers kind of need everything, don't they?
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, they need an elite shutdown corner, something they haven't had for decades, or a decade, I should say. I think the O-line can still get a boost. I think your skill guys at the offensive positions are pretty sound. I don't think they would move on from Pickett after a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got, Pickens looks great. They signed Johnson to a big deal, so they're not moving on from him. So I think the defense, Cam Hayward, he is in the twilight. As great as he's playing, some of the best ball he's ever played in the last couple seasons, that has to be something to look at. So I think, you look at that defensive side, DB, defensive interior, and then everyone always needs an elite offensive lineman. So I think early on, as we talk here on December 14th, if they were going to the pick right now, I think you're going for those 3 positions: DB, D tackle, D end, or offensive lineman.
The thing I fear for them, and this has been the case for the last 3 years, I think, maybe even more than that. You could tell me better than I could tell you on the O-line situation, but it feels like there's no quick fix, easy fix to their O-line situation. They can't run the ball at a high level. They can't keep up their quarterback at a high level, and they don't really have a crazy amount of talent. They missed on Kendrick Green, and Kendrick Green has struggled substantially, although I thought he would be good out of Illinois. How do they go about fixing this offensive line? They even tried to add some free agents this offseason. It just hadn't come together.
It's a matter of that line adjusting to one another and just having better talent. I mean, talent prevails, coaching prevails. I mentioned it so many times on this program. When Mike Munchak, the Hall of Famer, left for Denver, that was going to be the biggest business consequence that they would have to endure. Because when he arrived, that offensive line was kind of in flux as well. It really wasn't that good, but he brought it to a dominant form. And they had Marquise Pouncey, arguably a Hall of Famer. You had David DeCastro. So, I mean, you had 2 guys
Alejandro Villanueva when he was still good.
Yep. I mean, those guys were elite. And, you're talking 2 of them arguably could end up in the Hall. Pouncey probably surely will. And you got to replace that talent. And I think that's where things get masked. You go out and you sign guys, but they're not those type of guys. And those guys are hard to replace. And it's just a matter of you got to go through the draft. And they have so many needs, And I think when you look at the Steelers, they're never going to go out. We know they've spent money this offseason. They did. They did. They signed Jack, Mason Cole, James Daniels. They brought in pieces to fill that team. But it's still a lot of missing pieces for that team when you're looking at some of these elite programs. Yep. And on the flip side, they're young. I don't want to understress, at least offensively, how young that group is. And it will take a little bit of time for all those pieces. I mean, Pickett, absent of the concussions, I mean, maybe he's played, 4 full games this year. So, he's doing well. It's just a matter of him adjusting and the line getting better. So, But that's what the draft's for, and that's what free agency is for, to bolster both those units.
Now, I'm curious your thoughts on this based on what we've seen. Bengals on a 5-game win streak. Bills have struggled a little bit, but they're still a very good team. We know what they have in regards to a roster construction. The Chiefs have been there, done that several times. Who's your team out of the AFC right now through Week 14?
I'm still going with, I've been going with the Bills all year, and I would still put the Chiefs there. I told you guys last week, I think if Patrick Mahomes gets another shot at the Bengals, I'll put everything I own on the Chiefs prevailing in that game. I just think it's you can't beat Patrick Mahomes that many times. It's just the law of averages. I don't care who's better, who's not playing, where they're playing at. To me, those are just those law of average. The Chiefs have to win just because of the success Burrow's had against Patrick Mahomes. And the Bills, I think last year was an example of there was a lot of good teams last year. The Rams, the first 6-7 weeks of the season last year, the Rams looked on another level, untouchable. Then they went through that sour patch. Then they came back. Tennessee did it. The Chiefs did it. All those elite teams last year had their moments of looking fantastic, and they all kind of walloped in the mire, if you will. I think Buffalo's in that point. They got 4 games to kind of get this thing straight before they head off into the postseason. And from this point, I still think they're going to be the team to beat. I still think the Chiefs are the second best team in the AFC, and the Bengals, I put them in the mix. And I know people probably think I'm being harsh on Cincinnati, but I just think that I know they won the Super Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl last year, but you got to prove it again against these elite teams in the playoffs. And if they do that, then they'll have my belief.
Let's do what talk radio does the best. Let's play the blame game. But let's do it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both of y'all, fire away, just scatter shooting. Where's the blame game start for the Bucs this year?
This is the argument we're always going to have. We all know Brady's the greatest ever, but I do think there has to be something said that his commitment to this season wasn't intact. And when he's still fighting age, those are all little things, little intricacies that deter you from being at your best. He doesn't need to practice. Maybe he doesn't because he doesn't know the plays, and he is a competitor. But I think the Buccaneers are old. I think this is a team that they had their heyday when Brady came in. They had a great season. Those guys were all Pro Bowl caliber level guys. They lost a lot of those pieces, and now they're just older. So, you got Bruce Arians leaving, which we all thought that was a little skeptical, the way that happened. You had Brady's, I'm retiring, I'm not retiring. Then we know it's, off-field stuff with his wife and their divorce. So I think there was just so many little things going on in his life that you just can't say, hey, this was what I was committed to 100%. And granted, we know he's a competitor. That's where you can't get lost. But this is where we are now, 2022, December, going into the last 4 weeks of this season. He could say he does, and I know if he was sitting with me now, he'd argue you. But to say that intensity he had, just say in 2012, even if it was 100%, it's 99.9, but it's not what it was, I think, in those years previously. And I just think and the diminishing body. And we know he's great, but I think all those little factors pile up, and you can't put it all on Brady, but I would put the majority on it because he's going to get the success. And as we know, the quarterback's going to get the blame.
And when we talk about Tom Brady, I think you also have to mention Todd Bowles sort of letting him walk over him in a way. He let him do what he wanted. And I don't think any coach before that, Bruce Arians and Bill Belichick, let him do that. They treated him as another guy on the team, and Todd Bowles treated him differently. Now, also, if you're talking about something on the field that has affected them pretty substantially, they've had a lot of injuries on that offensive line. You talk about Ryan Jensen before.
They have.
Aaron Stinney. Now you have Tristan Wirfs. I mean, they have had some struggles, and you mentioned Tom Brady getting older and having to be a statue back there. That has not helped in any way, shape, or form. The other issue, and it really showed this week, Bo, what is up with that run defense? I mean, they have guys up front that can go. I like Akeem Hicks. I like Vita Vea. They've had a couple of injuries here and there, but they were Swiss cheese the other day against against the 49ers.
All right, so Bo, we've gone through the list. I agree with everything both of you guys said. I don't think I would put this at the top of anything that's been mentioned. We had the Brady commitment. We had the Brady age. We had Arians leaving. Gabe had Todd Bowles' deference, almost compliance to Tom Brady. We've had injuries. We've had run defense. When are we going to get around to – did we really expect Todd Bowles to be very good? He wasn't any good the last time he was a head coach.
I'm a big Todd Bowles believer. I thought he did a lot in New York, and I think we know from just the decades of New York football, it's been bad for so long. It was going to be really hard for anybody to resurrect.
Might be more than anybody can pull off.
Yeah, and I agree with Gabe on Todd Bowles allowing Brady to have too much, too lenient on him. On the flip side, I guess, is if I'm Todd Bowles and he's Tom Brady, I'm stepping into my second head coaching gig. You can't really argue.
Don't want to ruffle the feathers.
You don't want to ruffle the feathers. And even if you think it's right, in the back of your mind, you know it is Tom Brady. You know this is not some second-year rookie who's out too late and not doing his homework. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword of you're kind of, you know what if you do and you know what if you don't for Todd Bowles. If he was too disciplinarian and they had success, how does Brady react? And if the losses would still stack, then what happens? So it's just a bad situation. I would like to see Todd Bowles get another season. If I don't, how these coaching carousels go. I just think, and I've said this from the time that they won the Super Bowl. I didn't like the Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl. I can go back. They played Washington week 1. They were one of the worst playoff teams we have ever seen. They played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl with no offensive line
at home.
They fired the Green Bay Packers fired the defensive coordinator and everybody else on the staff
in front of nobody at Lambeau because of COVID.
Yeah. So did they win it? Were they good? Yes, but it was just a perfect storm to succeed. And then the last 2 seasons, they've had the easiest schedule strength, at least going into the season. We know the NFC South is horrific. So I think all those things kind of hide the ugliness of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Bucs were never that good.
Yeah, they were a good football team. But, when I look at the Bills and the way the Chiefs are, even the Rams last year, I just don't think that they were on that level. And call me kooky. I know they won the Super Bowl. But that was been my belief. And this year, as they erode into this dismal season, I'm like, this is what I thought would have happened some point last year. But it just happened to kind of finally take hold this year as they sit, I think, at 6-7, 5-8 in the NFC South?
Yeah, they're at 6 and 7. And on the Todd Bowles front, before I move on to the 49ers and what Brock Purdy's doing, Todd Bowles is not just a good coach defensively, he's a great coach defensively. Now, as a head coach, I think there's a lot of things you could debate about how he's run his teams in the past and what this team looks like this year, but I think there's a lot of things this year in particular that were maybe a little bit out of his realm, and I think the Brady thing is at the top of that list. I agree with you, Bo. Yeah, he could have probably tried to have a tighter leash on Brady, but at the same time, how was that going to work with Tom Brady at 45 years old?
Brady's kind of big-footed him.
Yes, he has, and I think it's worked to the detriment of him.
And I unless you're a Belichick, or a Andy Reid, I don't need too many other coaches.
Bruce Arians got after Tom Brady, though. We have to remember that.
Yeah.
He did. Remember when they were 7-5 2 years ago?
And he said, we haven't had a good enough quarterback play. Our quarterback hadn't stepped up to the plate. I mean, he went after Brady.
He did. And I think, but Arians just has that demeanor. You guys know him. I mean, he's flamboyant and fun. He's not going to hold his tongue back. He's going to give you a lash-in. And that's just the way he represents, I think, himself in all areas in terms of being just that charismatic guy. Again, for Todd Bowles, just a tough situation to be in, and there's no easy win unless you bring in a guy that is just has such a Bill Parcells type presence. Where you know what? I think we're on the same level here. I think you kind of get that second guessing, but again, I just think the Buccaneers are. I think their record represents who they are. They still have the greatest quarterback of all time on the roster, and that alone, his mystique, his nostalgic, way that he can carry himself and carry a team, that still resonates on the football field. And until he retires, that will still resonate.
Yep.
And that's why they'll always be in a game. That's why we saw the heroics a couple weeks ago when the Rams had them. And you know what? What's he do? He comes down on the last drive and does what Tom Brady does. He wins the football game.
All right, Bo, holler at me about Brock Purdy and the 49ers. What have you thought of him through 2 weeks?
Again, it's just typical Kyle Shanahan coaching. They bring guys in to know the system, they execute the system. And think about Brock Purdy, your first game, and you have a game like that against Tom Brady. The 49ers, I just give it all to Shanahan. I think the way he prepares those guys. And I mentioned Nick Mullins last week, and the guys that he's just able to kind of bring in.
It's Bill Walsh.
Yeah, it is. And that's a big stretch. We're not, all the folks out there listening, we're not saying he is Bill Walsh, but there's something special about a coach who
is.
Yeah, and like Belichick does it. You know, they hey, we got the 7th guy on the depth chart at running back, no problem. We got this guy playing. We got Troy Brown playing defensive back in the Super Bowl because we're short. I mean, those are the things that good coaches can do. You can coach these guys to the style that you want. You're not so much concerned about how fast they run, where they went to school, all those numbers. They're saying, hey, this guy fits what we want to do.
And it's the pieces around him. We can't make any mistake about that. And I heard this, and Nick Wright may not be my favorite guy in the world when it comes to media personality, but he called the Shanahan system, the offense, a color by numbers offense. And it sort of feels like that. Brock Purdy has to do nothing special. Throw some screens out there, gets the ball in the hands of his playmakers. The O-line paves the way for Christian McCaffrey. It's not that complicated.
That's a great point. Well, I mean, think of his father when he was in Denver. He had Elway, but he had Brian Greasy. Who else did he have? Jake Plummer
discovered
had a little bit of
Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
Terrell
Davis, all the running backs. But the quarterback play, absent of Elway, there was always guys coming through, but they always played at a decent level under that Shanahan style offense. And then, and that led to the Gary Kubiak days. So, they had a good run. And I just think the Shanahan coaching tree from Mike to Kyle, I just think what they do, and it is a great point by Nick Wright, is it is a kind of color-coded thing. Like, hey, you know what? This isn't that hard. And, again, the simplicity of it, I think, is why it's successful. Don't make it too tricky. Allow these guys to just flourish doing what they can do instead of trying to have them do what they can't, and then you struggle on the field. I mean, like Matt Nagy in Chicago. I think a lot of things went on there. I think Nathaniel Hackett in Denver. Look, what are they doing there where you have this talent? None of it's working. There has to be, we can put it on Russell Wilson, but then again, we have to put something on. Russell Wilson has had over a decade of MVP-type level of play. I just find it hard to believe that he's, a year older, he's in Denver with this new coach, and now everything just completely disintegrated around him.
I think the Matt Nagy thing is interesting because with Mitch Trubisky, he had him in the Pro Bowl one year with really good stats, and he was asking him he was handling him with kid gloves, and he just sort of let him run what needed to be run. Very simple, very straightforward, decent run game. And then the years after that, he was the king of making Mitch Trubisky try to make these throws downfield that he had no chance of making. And Kyle Shanahan, whether it's Jimmy G, whether it's Brock Purdy, it was going to be Trey Lance, he was not going to ask those guys to do anything that they were not fully comfortable with doing. Now, last night in the AFC playoff picture, Pats insert themselves at number 7, and they're fighting really neck and neck. And I guess you could put the Jets in there as well. They're fighting neck and neck with the Chargers, though, and the Chargers have a pretty easy schedule coming up. Titans, Colts, Rams, Broncos. Pats finish with Raiders, Bengals, Dolphins, Bills. Who do you give the lean to in this situation? Do you think the Chargers will get over top? Do you think the Pats will, or are you sort of going on the outside and saying the Jets could potentially get that 7 spot?
My heart of hearts would root for the Jets just because they've come out of nowhere. Breece Hall goes down, and then Mike White gets beaten up this past weekend, so we don't know where he'll be. So they really had their struggles in terms of just trying to stay above water, and be competitive. So that. The begrudging to me, I told you guys, I refuse to believe in the Chargers. So that said, I have to go with the Patriots and just thinking Belichick can somehow maneuver that team to get that wild card spot. And then opposite, from what I just said, I think it's just Brandon Staley will do what he can to derail the Chargers from getting that spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the one holdup I had with them. They made all those moves in the offseason. We talked about the AFC West being great, and it just sort of crumbled in our hands. But what I saw from Justin Herbert the other night and how well he played in that win against the Dolphins, I think it'll be a shame if he doesn't actually make it in. The narratives that will be created around him and getting to the playoff and playoff success are going to be pretty nasty, and I don't think all that deserved when we talk about Justin Herbert as a player.
Oh, yeah. The game where he got his ribs banged up, I forget what, that was a Sunday night game, I think.
Chiefs.
Against the Chiefs. For him to stay on the field and play the way he played, that was one of the toughest performances I've seen in a long time. And this kid is a gamer. It's so funny when you said that, because when I was watching that game Sunday night, I said to myself, when I look at Herbert, I say, I'll say to myself, this is the best quarterback in the league, hands down. Then you'll watch Burrow, or then you'll watch, say Patrick Mahomes or Allen. You watch these guys do one play, but he is right there, and I agree with you. He is on that level of greatness, but it takes 11, guys on defense, 10 other guys on offense, all making it happen, and then you got to have that guy in charge that can get you over the top. And we've seen a lot of great quarterbacks never get very far, and I'm not blaming it just because of a coach, but it takes a lot. But there is no question Herbert is one of the elite quarterbacks for years to come, and as we speak today.
Last thing for you, and then we'll let you roll. Who's your MVP so far of the NFL season?
Whoo! My MVP of this 2022 season.
Interesting.
Yeah,
right now,
I'm going to go with.
I'm going
to go with Justin Jefferson. He'll get Offensive Player of the Year. He'll probably get Offensive Player of the Year. I know it's going to go to a quarterback. So
right.
I
okay.
still have to give it to Josh Allen.
I'm going Jalen Hurts.
In the end, great
Jalen
call.
Hurts. You look at Caesars Sportsbook right now. Jalen Hurts minus 140, Pat Mahomes plus 400, Joe Burrow plus 600. So they're the top three as far as odds are concerned.
Yeah, it's great. You know what? Yeah, and Jalen Hurts is right there as well. What a heck of a season. And put him right in that. Put him up in with those guys I've mentioned as well. I totally forgot him. And as my daughter's boyfriend's a big Eagles fan, if he's listening, I'll get scolded when we hang up.
They're 12-1. They're rolling, and they look fantastic. And they're winning games very comfortably too at this point in the season with 48-22 over the Giants. That was impressive stuff.
They have the swag, Gabe. They have
that
that Super Bowl swag where you make plays. It's just, you know what? Hey, we got 4 picks this game, and then this guy threw 7 touchdowns. It's just those are how the great teams do it. You just get on a roll and you just ride it.
Yep, no question. But he is Bo Marchant at Bo Marchant on the Twitter machine. Bo, appreciate it as always.
Yep, stay blessed, guys.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thank you, Bo. Be safe, and happy holidays to you and yours in Eastern Ohio. This portion of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know, love, and trust. They're so very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. And you can go online at DeSotoAutoSales.com and look at all the cars and check out all the referrals, all the cars test driven, all checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car that you want just for you. When you walk in, you're treated like family by a kind, courteous staff, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales whatsoever, the opposite of high-pressure sales, but they do guarantee you this, the ultimate car experience. What is that? 45 minutes or less. It's a promise. It's a guarantee from everyone at DeSoto Auto Sales. You find that car you want, you test drive it, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there. They know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they have it so simplified, so streamlined. They have it down at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience.
30 minutes left in this Tuesday show on Sports Time. Make sure you hit us up. Listener line's there for you, 901-360-8255. Still have some NFL to get to. We'll talk about the MVP race that is tightening up. Also, have a point to make about the 10-3 Minnesota Vikings and why we truly do not believe in them at this point in the season. We'll be right back on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Ho, ho, ho. I just left those Ford and Toyota dealers. You ought to see their selection of new cars and trucks. And you should see their prices. Santa trades a Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Top trade-in for old sleds, immediate financing, a true bargain lot for cars and trucks under $99.95. And remember, Sunrise specializes in first-time buyers. Want to buy a car or truck and have some left over for the holidays? SunriseMemphis.com, Covington, Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. Happy holidays. Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
This is a damn fine automobile, if you want my honest opinion.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling. 30 minutes left in Sports Time. Join us. Listener lines there for you, 901-360-8255. But you're back with Gabe and Stats. I am Gabe. He is Stats. Brian Dacus, of course, producing the program. Couple of things before we get into the MVP odds in the NFL. A couple of signings worth mentioning. Bills re-signed Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley, who had been in the league for 11 years, retired, unretired to come back with the Bucs, and then retired again when he realized he wasn't going to get playing time with the Bucs, but he's back. He ended his second retirement, and he is back with the Bills. And make no mistake about it, he caught 82 balls last year. I mean, he had 82 receptions. He's still there. He's not washed yet. He could be of some serious help for the Bills. Now, they have Isaiah McKenzie.
For this stretch.
Yeah, and they have Isaiah McKenzie as another slot. I'm certain he'll sort of roll in there and get them going. But Josh Allen has a little bit of synergy with him, so I would imagine he would get a lot of playing time. Also, the OBJ chase for the Cowboys is over. Yesterday they signed T.Y. Hilton. 23 catches last year, certainly on a downswing in his career with the Colts. And
one of my favorite Colt of all time. I love this sign. I can't wait.
You had T.Y. Hilton as a favorite Colt.
Obviously, didn't have a whole lot of quarterback play to help him be good the past few years, but I feel like he's a little over the hill.
More catches down the stretch, T.Y. Hilton or Cole Beasley?
I'd imagine
T.Y.
Cole
Give
Beasley.
it to me.
Give me Cole Beasley. Give me Cole Beasley in that matchup. But of all the OBJ, we had all that Odell Beckham Jr. smoke, and T.Y. Hilton's the signing. I didn't even know he was making himself available. I thought that ship had sailed.
It sounds like it was mostly medical, physical for OBJ that they passed on.
Well, then my question is, when does that get fixed? This offseason, do you think he'll get more healthy and there'll be more teams will be comfortable with signing him? I can't imagine his NFL career's over. Also, he didn't want a rental situation. He didn't want to just be there for the rest of the year. He wanted a deal. I guess they weren't comfortable giving him a deal. I wonder if that means something for anybody else in the future.
Had the Mavericks crowd chanting OBJ.
I still think Cowboys fans would rather have OBJ than T.Y. Hilton. Maybe not Bryant.
I do too.
No, I mean, if I'm being honest, I'd way rather have Odell, okay, but I'm still happy with T.Y.
I hear you. Now, MVP odds have changed pretty substantially this week, going into this week. According to Caesar Sportsbook, Jalen Hurts is the odds-on favorite right now at -140. Patrick Mahomes +400. Joe Burrow +600 right behind him. Those are the top three. What are your thoughts on where this is headed? Only 4 games left in the regular season down the stretch.
I think it's his to lose, and I don't know that it'll be a bigger question, and I sure don't think it should take up a whole lot of debate time. But it could be a debate topic on some of the hot take shows. And it certainly does not do anything to cast aspersion on Nick Saban. But can we go back and think maybe Alabama made a mistake not staying with Jalen Hurts? I know they had the walk-off win with Tua, but Jalen Hurts also contributed to that team in the SEC championship game, or was that the next year? Anyway, do you think it'll be inbounds for people to want to maybe reignite that debate?
Sure. I think inbounds. I don't know if it. I think everything sort of happened for a reason in that situation. Tua Tagovailoa had a pretty substantial Bama career following that up. And I don't think Jalen Hurts was near the passer he is now at that point in time. And I think him transferring to Oklahoma.
His camp says they wouldn't let him be, that Bama wouldn't let him. I think Brian Daboll even.
I think the transfer to Oklahoma and dealing with Lincoln Riley, where Lincoln Riley was allowing him to air the ball out, helped his career.
Let him cook.
So I guess you could reignite that debate. I don't know how much I'd be able to participate in it. I think that's a tough one when you try to rewrite history, but certainly inbounds. I think certainly inbounds.
And the Bama partisans, they don't want a whole lot of that debate because it was one of the few times that Nick Saban showed a preference of a player over another one without empirical data. I mean, Tua and his family and his dad, they were always around, and Jalen Hurts' family felt slighted.
Hasn't it? I think it's tough, too, when you talk about Jalen Hurts, because we've talked about this on several occasions. Year to year, he gets better. He doesn't just. I mean, he doesn't just sit and wallow
at every
in
level of
self-pity.
football he has.
Every single
SEC
year,
Player of the Year as a freshman.
Every single year, he adds something to his bag, and since he's been in the NFL, it's throwing the ball.
He sure
at a high
does.
rate. So, at that time, people at Bama can say what they want about maybe the staff not letting him be the passer that he could be in that situation, but I think there's no doubt in my mind, looking at him out of Oklahoma, he's developed as a passer since he's left Oklahoma till now. I
think it's one of the biggest things that people have trouble with, and as great as he is, and he's the greatest college football coach ever, Nick Saban really has to guard himself to his Praetorian Guard, to the ones that are around him, and don't tell me what I want to hear, tell me the truth. When he asked the secondary coach, how are they? Oh, coach, it's great. Well, no, it's not. I mean, it's obviously not. I'm afraid he's had supplicants telling him everything's rosy when it hadn't been, and him going with that at this stage in his career.
Now, to play a little bit of devil's advocate in Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes in particular, just devil's advocate, I think Jalen Hurts has earned everything he's done this year. 22 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, nearly 250 yards per game, throwing the ball, 600 yards, rushing, 10 touchdowns. And I mean, he's accounted for 32 touchdowns this year. But to play a little devil's advocate between he and Patrick Mahomes, when we talk about value to a team, what about the Eagles versus the Chiefs? If we just compare those teams side by side, what position group would you take? Okay, maybe tight end, but Dallas Goedert is certainly a great tight end when he's healthy. What position
I would
group?
take the Chiefs' O-line against the Eagles' D-line and run the ball.
Well, I'm talking about D-line to D-line, O-line to O-line. What position group for the Chiefs are you taking over the Eagles? Because I don't know if there's one for me. I
don't know that I would take any over it, but I like the Kansas City matchup of the offensive line against the Eagles' defensive line. And I think you'd see Patrick Mahomes hand the ball off a lot. I would try to run right at him.
I think it would be really struggle. Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham. I mean, they're loaded. And if they, from a health perspective, if they still had Jordan Davis,
some of these teams have been running against them.
No, I understand that, and they've given up a few points here in the past couple of weeks, but they've been scoring a lot. I look at Chiefs and Eagles, and I think the supporting cast on the Eagles is a step and a couple steps up in the grand scheme of things. Wide receivers, not even close. I think you look at Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Quez Watkins, and the other, and I mean, Juju.
But I don't know if the Eagles get out of the NFC, though, to get to the Chiefs.
That's an interesting one. I sort of wonder, too. And, it's 49ers, Cowboys, Vikings is the thought process there, potentially. What do you think? Who would be the biggest thorn in the Eagles' side in not getting out of the NFC?
A couple. Dallas in the one versus the winner of the 4 and 5 game. That'd be second weekend. And then San Francisco.
Yeah.
But all of it would be at Lincoln Financial.
Interesting point here to make, and I sort of teased this about the Vikings. So the top 4 teams in the NFC, Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers, Vikings, from a record perspective. I went and looked up point differentials, and I made a little bit of an allusion to this yesterday. But the reason we don't trust the Vikings, very, very simple. First, you go look at their schedule. In their wins so far this year, not substantial margins. 28-24, 28-25, 29-22, 24-16, all one scores. In their losses, 24-7, the Eagles they lost to. 40-3 against the Cowboys. 34-23 this past weekend against the Lions. They've lost by 2 scores, only win by 1 score. But the point differential is wild. The Eagles, the Cowboys, and the 49ers are 120-plus in point differential. You have to go all the way down past the Lions, past the Jaguars, to the Vikings. Their point differential at 10-3 so far this year, -1. -1. And we've had these questions about why don't we trust them? Why can't we hop on board with this Vikings team? I think we have an answer why. They don't control games.
And that Sunday, and against Detroit, but that didn't look like a quarterback that had it.
No, and I think the Lions have it right now. The Lions are rolling. And also, when you look at the Vikings and their defense, offensively, I think they're a good team. Good O-line. Decent enough quarterback to at least get you by. Jefferson's unreal. Thielen's a good second piece there. T.J. Hawkinson they've added. Mm-hmm. They got the offense to get going. Defensively,
I like Dalvin Cook.
Defensively, they're giving up 24.1 points a game. That's right there with Vegas. That's right there with the Raiders at 24th in the NFL when it's talking about opponents' points against them. I mean, they are really just grand scheme of 10-3 teams that we've seen at this point in the season through week 14 in recent NFL history. I mean, they are as fraudulent as I've seen in a while. They really are.
Well, there are currently 4 10-3 teams. They would be ranked 4th out of those 4, wouldn't they?
100%. And I don't even think it would be close. I mean,
not even close. We saw Dallas against them.
Yes, it's just it's. We have asked these questions all year. Why can't we trust them? There's clear answers. There's clear answers.
And my bigger question is, when will we ever trust Kirk Cousins? What would he have to do?
Win a Super Bowl, maybe. But I don't see
Joe
that
Flacco
happening.
did. We never trusted.
Trusted him a little bit more after that, right? We can't just say didn't trust him at all. Trusted him a little bit more.
We changed his curfew from 11 o'clock to 11:45.
I'll give you an example of a guy we trusted more after winning a Super Bowl. Nick Foles got a big contract from the Jags after winning a Super Bowl.
MVP of the Super Bowl.
We give a lot of we give the check mark to people who win Super Bowls.
But we didn't throw the keys to Kirk Cousins and tell him he can come in at any hour he wants to.
We did.
If he were a 16-year-old.
We did not. We did not. Final thing before we get to our final break of the day into Taco Bell Crunch Time. The interesting thing that's going on with the Falcons right now, obviously they have struggled down the stretch of the season. Have you seen the news about Marcus Mariota stepped away from the Falcons? People are saying after his benching, obviously Desmond Ridder is going to take over for the rest of the season, barring injury, of course. But there's a lot of people talking about Marcus Mariota basically quitting the Falcons after getting benched.
Yeah, I once had that debate with my dad. I was trying to get him to let me stay out later, and I've been lobbying like all week. Started on Monday for Friday night or Saturday night, whatever it was. And finally said, sure, you can stay out later from 11 to 11:05 and be in 5 minutes early.
You had a strict curfew, huh?
It was strict. That's what Kirk Cousins is.
Oh, my gosh. Money-making Kirk. I know you've seen the video of him with all the chains on. Swagged up.
I have not.
Looking good with all the ice. Come on.
Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. You haven't seen the video? Not. No pictures? No. Bryant, we're not doing a good job. We're not doing a good job.
I mean, it's not my job to say what he sees while we're not here. I just make sure he sees it while we're here.
Yeah, we gotta put Brett on a little more when it comes to the social media, the influence.
Because you know I love it.
Yeah. Big fan. Brett, when was the last time you used your Twitter account? Curiously.
Couldn't tell you.
Okay. You still have it, though. I like it.
Last time I used I looked at it earlier.
Oh, you look at it, but I'm talking about used it with the fingers. Twitter fingers.
Like hit
liking, send or like or anything? Or
no,
retweet?
Literally couldn't tell you.
Been a while.
Been a while. And going to be infinity.
So you're not buying the Twitter Blue subscription anytime soon?
No.
Good to know.
They would have to pay me.
I got you. Well, that would be cool if they paid you. That'd be nice, right?
And then the tweet would be, hey.
Just got done eating dinner. ...
Yeah.
Hashtag blessed.
That's it.
Let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, Taco Bell Crunch Time is upon us.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Looking for a cigar lounge to call your own? One that offers a laid-back environment with a full bar, comfortable seats to kick back in and enjoy a beer or a cocktail, and a cigar? Then G-Spot, Memphis's premier cigar lounge, is just for you. Offered a wide selection of cigars, and it's open 7 days a week, starting at 12 noon for your smoking pleasure. G-Spot Cigar Lounge is now offering a limited number of memberships that provide a locker and a humidor credit. For more information, call the G-Spot Cigar Lounge, 901-801-4276.
Biscuits and Jams is the best new restaurant in the Mid-South. Their shrimp and crawfish Creole Benedict has been named one of the best one-of-a-kind breakfast dishes by the Commercial Appeal. Biscuits and Jams' secret is homemade food with local ingredients. You can't get any better for breakfast, brunch, and lunch. Biscuits and Jams, open 8 to 2 Tuesday through Friday and 9 to 3 Saturday and Sunday at 5806 Stage Road. For delicious, local, homemade food, Biscuits and Jams is simply the best.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass. Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a dealer, right? Wrong. You need to go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Why? Because why limit yourself to just one kind of car when you can choose from all kinds of cars, SUVs, and trucks? All different years, all different makes, all different models. Really good prices, too. Now, everyone says that about the money, but Mount Moriah Auto Sales proves it. They work hard to get you the deal you want, even financing. Plus, they have a huge full-service department to help you take care of your car. So many choices at Mount Moriah Auto Sales. They're almost unlimited, with new vehicles coming in every day. Now, these are really good cars and trucks and SUVs that you'll want to drive. And yes, low miles too. It's so easy. Just go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales, tell them what you want, but keep your eyes open because you might just find the car of your dreams. Mount Moriah Auto Sales makes it all possible. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner, right on the price, right on Mount Moriah.
Football is here, and this season, my 46th as a professional handicapper. More than any season before, you need my help when it comes to sports wagering. The transfer portal has made it impossible for the average fan to keep up with college football. Take advantage of our experience, contacts, and information, and get season service, college and pro football and college basketball for $1,000. Total cost, no add-ons or extra charges. Every play we make through the NCAA Final Four championship. 5 losing seasons in 45 years is a phenomenal record. Last season, 65.5% against the spread, including a 13-4 record on our 10-star plays. Call me, John Rainey, the Rain Man, at 901-461-4600. That's 461-4600, and get season service for $1,000. The Rain Man and All-Star Sports. You can't do any better.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Make them drive the car. Make them touch it. Feel it.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is that Purdue has their new coach after Jeff Brom has stepped out and gone to Louisville. And I really love the hire. It's defensive coordinator from Illinois, Ryan Walters. He was here. He was in Memphis for a year under Barry Odom, and also he went with Barry Odom to Mizzou to be his defensive coordinator, but he was the safeties coach here, and really, really good guy, really good coach. Led the best scoring defense in the NCAA this year at Illinois, 12.2 points per game against, was a Broyles Award finalist. And this is interesting. He's young. He's 36. He's the 4th youngest head coach behind Kenny Dillingham, Kane Womack at South Alabama, and Dan Lanning. 3 of those 4, Kenny Dillingham, Dan Lanning, and Ryan Walters, all have one thing in common. They had a stop in Memphis. All these young coaches are being bred here, and it's cool to see.
It has been, Gabe, and it's been very successful here and for them after here. I learned today that very few people can say they really changed anything. Most of us just try to at least leave it as good as we found it, maybe leave it a little bit better than the ones before us. But Mike Leach, he changed the sport, learning from Lavelle Edwards to Hal Mumme to Josh Heupel, Lincoln Riley, Sonny Dykes, Dana Holgorsen, all the names that have been mentioned. Mike Leach's impact will ring through football forever.
Very well said. Very, very well said. Lost a true pioneer and a great one today. Also, did you guys see the Tyler Harris buzzer beater last night against Northern
Way to
Iowa?
go, Tyler Harris.
How about that? 18 points and beat Northern Iowa on the road. Put up a bomb. I mean, that was a
well, to be
35-footer.
fair, the UNI logo, everyone's, he shot it from the logo. That might be the biggest center court logo I've ever seen in college basketball. Brings me back to the old Arkansas Hog. I mean, it's massive in center court.
Don't be a hater.
I'm not being a hater. I'm not being a hater. Good for him.
Golly,
Truth teller.
Unreal.
Not a hater.
Could be a hater. He got put on skates on the other, and he wouldn't have had to make that three if he could play some defense. I love Tyler Harris.
Yeah, that's hating.
That's hating. Yeah, he's a hater. He's a hater. You got to take that back.
I said
now,
I love Tyler Harris afterwards. I'm not a hater.
That's right.
I mean, you can't insulate. That's like someone saying
facts.
No offense. When someone
I
says
missed the big slobber
it's like
and hog at Bud Walsh.
It's like when someone says no offense and then says the most offensive possible thing
Here we
right
go.
after it. I mean, you're still,
No disrespect.
but you're
Then they
being,
knee you right in the.
Yes, the chops. We'll call it the chops. Now, what I could have done without the Chris Beard stuff is getting nastier and nastier by the day. The felony, of course, with the issues that occurred with his fiance. And his fiance actually put in the police report, and this is word for word what she put in. She said, he choked me, threw me off the bed, bit me, bruises all over my legs, throwing me around and going nuts. And that was the end of her statement. He's obviously suspended without pay while ongoing investigation occurs, but this is just self-destructive and scary and very, very scary for his fiance.
And Gabe, I think Texas, even if she had wanted to recant and I don't think you can take the charges back.
No,
I think once that police call is
you
made,
shouldn't at least. You should not. You should.
Yeah,
not.
because we know a lot of things going. I could have done without this, and it really hit me hard. I hadn't thought about it until we got on the air today. 19 days after that classic Egg Bowl. 19 days, 3 weeks Thursday. It was the last time we saw Mike Leach on the football field. 24-22 thriller for State to win that golden egg. Overwhelming. I mean, just really hard to take in. 19 days.
And worth mentioning, Mississippi State and the officials there, especially with the football program, have confirmed that they will play in their bowl game. And they say they're going to honor Coach Leach. And let's be honest, I mean, Mike Leach would want that to happen still. Football guy through and through, and no question about that. What I'm looking forward to tonight, we have Celtics-Lakers on TNT late. That'll be the 9 p.m. Warriors-Bucks will be the early game. But, of course, keeping a very close eye on Tigers on the road. 7.5-point dogs.
It will be big.
In Coleman.
In the heart of college football country, mere steps from the Bryant Museum, steps from the Bill Battle Performance Center, the Mal Moore football offices, Nick Saban's office. It's not 600 yards from center court at Coleman Coliseum. You'll have that game going on.
I'm impressed. You knew every single name attached to all of their
I've
office
spent
buildings.
hours down there.
Okay, no,
hours. Also tonight, 6:30 on TNT, the last two champs meet. Bucks hosting Golden State. And then at late game on TNT, the two champs of all time, Celtics and Lakers.
Mm-hmm. Outside of that, not a whole lot in college basketball outside the Tigers tonight. Houston's in action. North Carolina A&T, though.
In the sadness, I'm enjoying I'm respecting all the tributes that are pouring in around from the sports world, particularly from the college football world. Again, we fight it out. But if I needed a friend, I got in a ditch, I'd feel very comfortable calling somebody at Mississippi State, and I think they know they could call us.
Yep, no question about it. No question. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us and putting your contributions in, whether it's the text line or otherwise. Thanks to our guests today, Dave Voloshin, Brent Beard, and Bo Marchand, for their contributions to today's show. But for Brian, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Be easy, stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.